All right, all right, all right. Welcome to the Military Retirement Podcast, everybody. We got some folks already. Navy Cop, Backwoods Law, Tony Slaughter. Hey, welcome to the live stream. Welcome to the live stream. Good morning, all. Happy day. Good to be alive. Good to wake up this morning. Glad everybody's here with us. Shout out to Backwoods Law, member for a month on the Green Law Book, man. I appreciate you, buddy. Look at that. That's something new. I've not seen those before, but I appreciate that. John, how you doing, man?
Good, man. How's it been? How's everything going?
Life is good, dude. I got coffee in my hand. I woke up this morning and I feel pretty damn good about that. I feel pretty good about it. You know what? I've been working on this whole the live stream, the trivia live streams that I do on Wednesdays.
Yep.
And it has honestly forced me to look into things more than I usually do. So this past week was all VA benefits and VA disability compensation. And I did like some deep dives into 38 CFR, something that I normally don't do. And I'm like, okay, well, yeah, no, yeah, my eyes were glossing over, dude. I was going cross-eyed, but yeah, fun times. Yeah, indeed. This week, man, this Wednesday, I was doing research on it. It's going to be military history and world history. So people were asking about it. And I'm like, that's right up my alley, man. So a lot of military history, Roman history, Greek history, Aztec, Mayan, all that good stuff, man. Spanish conquests, all the good stuff that helped build the world, or maybe not so good stuff, but whatever, it's part of history.
I mean, if I can get some class credits for my class that I'm in right now for world history, that'd be awesome if I could just attend.
You know, I might have to get accredited. You know, University of Vic, I guess, the Green Logbook University.
U of V. 30s.
Yeah, it could be bad for my mental health, man.
It could be.
Yeah, you know, I'm on my first cup of coffee, so I'm still trying to wake up, but I'm glad I'm here. Great to have you here. Great to have everybody here. So today, man, it's going to be all about behind the scenes, behind the uniform, right? Like what goes into supporting the military service member who is out doing their thing and behind the scenes, something that we don't normally talk about too often, right? Or it's not seen too often. And I know there's a lot of families would not be able to make it through deployments, through PCSs, through all this stuff without a good support system, right? I know I wouldn't have. You know, I couldn't have done everything I did without having my wife in place, right? My wife here and helping me out. And when I decided to retire, I was like, you know what? Now it's my turn to support you. Let me do my thing, work on this YouTube thing and do the coaching consulting thing, and I will let you grow your career. But while you're in uniform, while the service member's in uniform, that's kind of tough. Because John, you know as well as I do. I mean, you've seen it, right? Every time you PCS, you move, the spouse has to find a new job and plant roots and stuff like that. And it is tough. It is tough, man.
Yeah. And it's a story that doesn't get told very often because there's not a whole, I mean, there's not female veterans and or female spouses who are like banging down our door. Like we get tons of email inbound from all kinds of different companies and lawyers and doctors and all kinds of crap. Not crap. It's good stuff, but it just doesn't align with the audience, right? The audience is a certain type of special, meaning veterans, dark humor, a lot of males. There's some females in here, but it's definitely a perspective and a side of the story. We've tried to tell it before in certain ways, and it's always good to get someone else on someone else's opinion from the other side of the coin, right? To hear the back end of what it takes to actually manage, run, do all the things that you need to do for your military family. And it's really just the spouse, whether it's a male spouse, female spouse, in the back end, somebody is managing and taking care of a lot of things while the soldier, the sailor, the airman, the Marine is out doing all the fun stuff and going to the gym and, going TDY and doing all the deployments and all that stuff. I mean, some of it's more fun than other stuff, but generally speaking, the military member is out there doing all the the exciting things, and the spouse, whoever that may be, male or female, is back in the rear, holding down the fort, holding down the family support group, holding down the kids, holding down the dogs and cats, cleaning the house, washing the dishes, like all the things, right? Taking people to soccer practice. It's a lot of work, and I don't think people get enough credit for it. Even just regular spouses don't actually get enough credit for it. So it's great to have this conversation today.
It is. And without further ado, I would like to bring Allison Burton onto the stage, who is a military spouse, a writer, and a professional truth teller. I like that. Let's bring Allison onto the stage. Let's put you here in the middle here. How you doing, Allison?
I'm good. How are you guys?
Good.
As good as I can be. Like I mentioned, I did wake up this morning, so I feel pretty damn good about that.
That's fair. That's fair. I do have to say that hearing you say that it's a little bit of dark humor, I feel like you are my people. And I also feel like you have to be able to deal with dark humor in this lifestyle and in this culture, because if you don't laugh at the absolute shitty things, I don't even know if I can cuss on here. I apologize if I'm not
absolutely.
Okay,
Go ahead. Do it all the time.
You have to be able to laugh at it, and you have to be able to make fun of it, because otherwise you're going to fall apart.
That's right.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm on your website, Allison, right now. So it's allisonburton.co. And we'll put that in the comments here. Military spouse, writer, professional truth teller. All right. Walk me through these. All right. I can understand the military spouse part. Are you is your spouse Army or what service are they?
My husband is an Army air defense officer.
Okay, right on. So that took you all the way out to Europe most recently.
Yes.
Okay.
We got here, actually today is a month ago. So it's still fresh, but we've been in this location before. So we're fairly familiar.
And we'll get into all that here in a second. So I hope you have, I hope you've got your wine like we talked about.
Don't tempt me with a good time. I'm not shy. I will go for a glass real quick.
But it also says you're a writer and a professional truth teller, and I want to talk a little bit about that. Like let's talk about the writer. Like what exactly are you doing with this website? What is your mission, your goal? What are you writing about?
Very glad you asked. It's comical to me that you're on my website like while I talk to you, because I don't think I've ever had anybody like actually actively looking at my page while they're speaking to me. I started writing a book just over a year ago, and it is the real, raw, unhinged version of military spouse life. So it's the things that you most likely heard your wife say at one point or another. It's the things she talked about with her friends at the bus stop. It's the things that you talk about at book club when you're supposed to be talking about a book, but all you want to do is vent about what's going on. It's not homecoming porn. It's the real shit that we deal with. And it's the honesty, it's the vulnerability. It's very unhinged, kind of like myself. And so, I'm bringing the truth to the front of the class, if you will, because it's not talked about really ever. Military spouses are conditioned to be quiet, and they're conditioned to be obedient and take the scraps and just be happy about it. And it's really disgusting. So currently writing that book, almost finished. And then the professional truth teller, basically I've been the person in the room my entire life that's going to say what everyone is thinking. I mean, I'm not going to do it in an offensive way unless I absolutely have to. Obviously we're going to read the room. You know, if there's some fancy general in the room, I'm obviously not going to embarrass myself. But these things need to be said. It's a hard life. It's very difficult being a military spouse, and we should be able to say that out loud and be heard and be justified. I try to, all the things I post on social media, I strive to have a safe space for military spouses to feel what they feel, and say it out loud.
It's excellent.
Yeah.
Excellent.
We do the same here. We try to create a space where veterans specifically can come tell their stories specifically about transitioning out of the military, most cases, and try to speak about their truth and get it out there. And we definitely let them. They're free range veterans here. They're not. We don't have any non-GMO veterans here. So.
I like that.
Yeah, we like to. I mean, I think it's important to let a little bit of that honesty be there. Of course, you've got to set your boundaries, and like you said, you got to read the room and see who's there. And I think sometimes we maybe go overboard a little bit. Sometimes, in some cases, but we're staying true to ourselves. Like we're really trying to stay true to what we're doing and the community that we're supporting. And I think it resonates with people. They seem to understand that we're not out here just trying to blow smoke up somebody's butt. You know what I'm saying? We're literally trying to get the story out there, get the people's voices out there, and help veterans do their thing. And it sounds like what you're trying to do from a spouse's perspective.
Yes, exactly. It's very interesting to me the amount of service members, both active and veteran, that have messaged me on LinkedIn or on social media, and they're like, "I could never have lasted 20-ish, whatever the years are, without my wife." And I'm like, "Can you say that louder for those in the back? Because some of these dudes don't understand, and they think they can do absolutely anything they want, and their wife doesn't matter." And I want to choke them. But it's nice to hear when other people are like, "Yes, I get it." You know, they can't. I will never say that a soldier who's deploying and a spouse who's staying back to take care of the family are the same. They're apples and screwdrivers. Like, you cannot compare the two. We won't understand. I don't understand what my husband is dealing with, and he doesn't understand what I'm dealing with. But we have to have a way that we can respect each other and say, "I hear you out, and I'm here to help you," without judging and saying, "Well, you didn't deploy. It's not the same." You're right, I didn't, but do you want to talk about what I did do? But nobody wants to hear that part.
Yeah, yeah. And you know, I'm curious too, and I think Roy Estrada, this gentleman here on the chat, mentioned had a good question about it. I'm interested to see where the husband is supporting spouse while the wife is serving, also what happens when both spouses are serving. And I'm curious about that too, because I imagine that I mean the majority of the military, I think, are more like female or women spouses, right? So when you have sometimes you do have a male spouse, you know,
Mhm.
who is supporting the home and all that. Do you get a lot of folks, a lot of men who reach out to you for support?
I haven't had any so far. I do know of less than a handful at this moment. Doesn't mean they're not out there, because I
Mhm.
know that I can't imagine how difficult it would be to be that one man in the room of, 80 women. Just, I mean,
Right.
that's a little terrifying, if you want me to be honest. So that they've got to feel uncomfortable. However, most of them are a stay-at-home dad, and or they work from home. That way
Mhm.
they can take care of the family if they have a family. In regards to when both spouses are serving, those people are unicorns in my mind, and I assume, have a family care plan and live near other extended family members, because especially depending on what the MOS is, you could both be gone at the same time. So
Right.
it's a very challenging situation. However, the one thing in the childcare realm, which is something I cover in my book, for dual military, they do get preferential treatment, as they should. So
Mhm.
if you've got both parents being active duty, then they are going to get childcare before someone like myself would get it, because I'm a stay at
Yeah.
home, work from home parent.
Right, right. And I've gone through that. I've gone through the CDC myself many times, you know, because my wife was working and I was recently retired, right? Retired in 2023. And there was a lot of times where I had to go in there and they have like the pay chart, you know, whatever your
Mhm.
rank is, you have to pay for the child care and all that. And yeah, the preference does go to the dual
Yeah.
military. Yeah,
Yeah.
that definitely is. Um, you know what you're doing here, as I read your website, what you're doing here, it's almost like what our mission is here. So what we talk about is like the tribe, the veteran tribe, military to civilian tribe. And anywhere, any base that I've ever been to, there's always been a tight group of military spouses. You
Mhm.
know, like I recall when we moved in, when we were at Marine Corps Base Hawaii, and we moved in, we lived in K Bay, across the street from a park, just newly moved in, right? Like movers just came, you know, the PCS truck and all that stuff, and then the neighbors came by, and the lady asked, "Hey, you know, saw my wife out there and was talking to my wife and all that." Invited her out across the street to go to a workout session. Like they would work out together in the park and stuff. My wife was like, "Yeah, yeah, I'll join in, whatever." That is like a tribe mentality. That, hey, we got
Mhm.
somebody new here. Let's bring them in. Is that something that you're involved in? Like, hey, let's bring you into this group of women or this group of spouses, and let's talk about the hardships. Let's talk about the good times and the bad and how to overcome these things.
100%. You know, we just got here a month ago, and we received, we have two children as well. A very huge welcome. You know, we
Mhm.
had things in our house. We're in a temporary home, which is why there's absolutely nothing on the wall.
Oh yeah,
But
TLF. Yep.
we had we had food in the house. We had linens on the beds. We had people
Mhm.
there. They're willing to drive us anywhere because we just got off the, I don't know, 18 hours of traveling, whatever it was. But yes, I am 100% that person. I'm like, you just got here. Tell me your name. Do you need me to take you to the store? Like, absolutely,
Mhm.
because we were not meant to do life alone. And we are especially not meant to do military spouse life alone, because especially when you're Oconus, when we share a little bit about the absolute crazy things
Yeah.
that we've been dealing with. We landed in Germany, and 72 hours later, my husband got notification that he would be deploying. I did not have
Wow.
a German driver's license. I didn't have a car. I did not have, we still don't have anything. Like, our household goods are now on the water, not in the water. Let's not put that in the universe. They have left Kansas. They left Kansas, and they are on
Yeah.
the way. Um, but yeah, so he's gone to an undisclosed location. Love that for me. So yeah, it was very much of, okay, who do I know? Which thankfully I knew a few people in this neighborhood already. And
Mhm.
how can they help me? Because I was like, I have to ask for help, because right now I don't have a way to get around. I don't have anything.
Right.
So
Right.
the way that we all had to step up and within 3 days get a power of attorney, a rental car, a driver's license, and all the things,
Mhm.
you have to ask. You know, the children were angry, and that's fair. It was not on my bingo card for this year, for him to immediately leave. But we're dealing with it. But yes, we have to wrap our arms around people that are new, whether it's book club, whether it's, you know, working out, walking the dog, you know, whatever those things are. I don't meet a stranger, which sometimes is a bad thing, and my husband gets annoyed with me,
Mhm.
because I like to talk to people, and he's like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "I said hello." It's not
Yeah.
against the law, like the.
Right. Right.
So yeah, it's definitely helpful when you have people around you that want to extend that hand and they want to say hello, which is in my mind what everyone should do. Like, being kind is free.
Yeah, it absolutely is, and I feel the pain of being in temporary housing. I've been there before for several months as they try to find me a house, so on base. So it definitely sucks. But no, I understand too. Like when you arrive and your linen is there, and maybe somebody helps you out with like, hey, some food. Maybe you know
Mhm.
they bring you some mac and cheese or something, right? Like,
Mhm.
hey, you just welcome to the neighborhood, or welcome to the unit, or whatever it is.
Mhm.
So that's good. Are you do you hold any kind of positions like a family readiness officer or anything like that, like on base or have you in the past?
Oh, I have held a lot of them.
Yeah.
In the Army world, it's SFRG leader. As it used to be FRG, and then they added the S so that the soldier wasn't left out. I have been the leader of many a group. I have held many positions in spouses clubs. Currently, I am just, and I say this without trying to sound snobby, I am the commander's wife, so I'm the SFRG advisor. That's really it. And I'm okay with
Yeah.
that, because there are other people that are directly involved with the families. So I get to help them on a larger scale. And I get to know what they're doing and if they're struggling. And like I said, we have many of our soldiers that are forward at the moment. So we've got some challenges going on. But that right there is important to me, because I need them to know that I'm here. It's intimidating to a lot of spouses whenever you are like, oh, that's so and so's wife, or that's lieutenant colonel whoever's, you know, or that's
Right.
general's wife. Like, oh my God, don't talk. No, please talk to me, because we are all human beings.
Yeah.
I'm not a scary person. At least I don't feel like I'm a scary person. So
Yeah, how do you actually deal with that whenever? Because I know when I went, even when I transitioned from being like enlisted to warrant officer, it was stepping into a whole nother world. And I was married at the time. Um, and how do you deal with that with the spouses specifically, as far as like the interactions, the conversations, because there is a lot of trepidation in some circles, and then there's some kind of like, oh well, those are the officers. We don't really, we know that they have stuff to say, but we don't care, like that kind of thing. Or the opposite is true as well, where you've got an officer's wife or a warrant officer's wife who thinks he or she is God's gift to humanity, and they, once they pin on that rank, and then they're like, what? It's not even the fact that their husband or wife pinned on the rank; it's the fact that their husband or wife pinned on the rank, and now they feel more empowered and more
100%.
special. How do you mitigate or deal with those kind of things, and is there a good way to go about approaching that?
How I have always approached this situation, because since the day I married my husband in, oh my God, 2009. I don't tell him, I couldn't remember that off the top of my head. It has never been about a rank that anyone wears to me. You're all people. And a private is the same in my mind as a general, because you both serve our country and I've never served my country. Therefore you get equal respect because you're human beings. So ma'am, sir, absolutely everyone, mostly probably because I can't remember your name, and thank God your name is on your shirt, because that really helps me out. But I've had people that you hear conversations of officers' wives just don't understand. They have it so easy. Respectfully, shut up, because we all have the same problems. It's just our house sizes are different. Like, that's literally the only difference, because we still have kids that want to act like a damn fool when we're in public, and you're like, literally, you're 13. Why are you acting like you're 3? Like, we all have laundry that we haven't done. We all have a dog that's going absolutely psycho when the husband leaves or the spouse leaves. We all have the same things that are going on. It just looks slightly different. So for me, I have to sometimes tone myself down, because I am very energetic and I am very extroverted. So I try to be more sedated, if you will, while I'm trying to get to know someone, because I don't want to scare them with my excitement. It can come across as like, oh God, she's a lot. And I understand that. But honestly, just treating people like humans. I don't need to know what your spouse does in the military. Like, I want to know what you do. I want to know who you are. Do you have a kid? Do you have a dog? Do you have a job? All those things. I start with those type of things because I want to know the spouse as a person. If they choose to tell me what their spouse does, awesome. I'm not going to ask, because that's not important enough to me to start the conversation that way. And I just encourage people. It doesn't matter who is married to whom and what rank they are and where they live and all, because here especially the housing is severely divided. Like, we are on different concerns, from the enlisted side to the officer side, and it's very segregated, if you will. But it doesn't mean that we all act high and mighty. Like, I'm not going to walk around peacocking because my husband is in charge, quote unquote. Like, no. I have met those people, 100%. I have met those people, and I do not like them, because unless you're wearing that uniform yourself and you have the rank on yourself, no, that I can't get behind when a spouse is wearing their husband's rank, or do you know who my husband is? Absolutely not. For me, I can't do it.
I've gotten a few of those. I've seen a few of those. I was just quick story. I was at the Marine Corps Exchange years ago, and somebody had mentioned something like that while I was at customer service in the line. And some exchanges have military personnel that work there as like managers. And it was this lady trying to explain, ma'am, I understand, but we're taking each person as they come, in line. She was trying to get in front of everybody. And I'm like, this wouldn't work anywhere else. Like, you just don't do this at like Vaughn's or whatever, Home Depot or whatever, so why do it here?
They look ridiculous.
It does. And I got a question here from Roy Estrada, which is pretty good too. He's talking about the kids dynamic, right? Allison, have you addressed the impact on military kids? Not just the spouse, the children are impacted as well.
100%. Now I can speak I call my kids the middles, because they're 11 and almost 14. So I don't have older teenagers and I don't have tiny babies anymore. But yes, military lifestyle is just as hard on a child as it is the spouse. And I'm sorry, my dog has decided to start barking, so forgive me if you hear his nonsense. So my children,
you're all good.
The first deployment that my husband had, he decided to knock me up and deploy twice. So that's a whole nother story. However, our son was 2 when he deployed the second time, and I was pregnant with our daughter. So he didn't really understand because yes, daddy was around, but like he couldn't grasp the fact that daddy was in a computer screen. Like we only had this, I'm going to
Mm,
date myself. We only had Skype at the time. For those of you that are younger, you may not even know what that is, which hurts my soul a little bit. Um, but it's hard now. It's much harder because our
yeah.
children are aware. They are competent. Uh, I hate the word resilient. I hate it. If there wasn't another word that was worse in the English language called the R word, I would call resilient the R word, because in this lifestyle specifically, resilience and being resilient means that somebody's not going to fix what's wrong. They're going to
Mhm.
expect you to just overcome it and just buck up, buttercup, and fix it. Like
Just
they're
live in the suck. That's it.
yes, embracing the suck.
Yeah.
And I try so hard not to yell at people when they're like, "Oh, you're so resilient." Please pick another word. There are so many words in the English language that you could. My dog. I'm sorry.
Just start
But
handing
yeah,
out thesaurus as you go along. Just
yes,
pick something
yes,
else.
please. But allowing your children to sit in their sadness, and I in my book I even describe this as I have to be Switzerland because I love my husband and I support his mission ish
Mhm.
most of the time. I love him and I want him to be safe, but I also have to endure my children's emotions because they're learning how to process their emotions because they're 11 and almost 14. So I have to be able to take it from both sides and let them scream at me and let them cry on me and and still deal with my own emotions. My husband's gone. Like that's hard. But trying to explain to a child when you've just pulled them from what they've known for 4 years,
Yeah.
and hey, dad's leaving, even though he just returned from a deployment less than a year ago. It's not fun. It's not fun at all, and one thing for me that I have found, and I've been able to do therapy and self-reflect a lot, is I allow my children to see me upset because I'm a human being and I don't need them to think that I'm a robot. I am absolutely not a robot, and emotions are healthy and emotions are okay. But it's definitely hard on children.
It is. Yeah, I agree. I agree. Especially when you have to uproot them every few years,
Yeah.
like different schools, different friends. And that really hit me pretty hard right
Mm.
as I decided to retire. Like, so we're gonna go to a different school, like seeing them say goodbye to their friends and all that. I'm like, man, tears in their eyes. I'm like,
Mhm.
we've been doing this every 3 years. This kind of sucks, and I think I'm ready. I'm ready now. Um,
Yeah.
got another good question on here, Allison.
Okay.
From Patrick PMW. So Patrick is about to retire. He's counting down the days. Every time he joins the live stream, he always puts the number of days that he has left.
I love that.
So
408 and
it
a wake
says,
up.
that's it. It says, Allison, any thoughts, concerns as you look into the crystal ball towards retirement from the spouse's perspective? I imagine there are lots of life changes with hubby home all the time.
I wish I had a crystal ball. That would be kind of cool. Not only would I make millions of dollars telling people what's coming, but I could plan better and maybe make more
Oh
money.
yeah.
I don't know. But in talking to my friends that have recently retired, their spouses have recently retired, or they're in the process now, the spouse once again gets left behind. And when you approach it from the military side. Now, I can only speak for the Army because most of my friends are Army families. We have the TAP program that they are supposed to go through, soldiers are supposed to go through, and they're like, take your spouse with you and you can attend more than once. But the conversations are about the soldier. Let's get his or her resume ready. Let's get his or her networking. Let's get his or her blah, 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 whatever it is. When you have a spouse, I'll talk about myself, a female who hasn't had a full-time job in 20 years because it's not been cohesive with the family and you haven't been able to keep that job, but yet you're again taking the fallout because your soldier is having a midlife, late life, however old they are, crisis because the uniform comes off. Who are they without the uniform? And then you don't know who you are because you've always been a military spouse. And when that title comes off, you're like, oh dear God, who am I now? Like you have to look at yourself in the mirror and be like, what am I doing now? So yeah, I mean, the funny part is having my husband home all the time is probably going to be frustrating, because you're not supposed to be here 24/7. Like you're supposed to be at work. So find a job, or I'll find a job outside the house. My husband jokes that he's going to be a greenskeeper, like on Caddyshack. I don't,
Mm,
I don't know if he
nice.
really will, but it's funny to talk about. But yeah, it's a hard transition on the spouse because you are dealing with being Switzerland again because you've got medical appointments with the VA and he's got all these different things, and you're like, again, when is it? When do I get to focus on what I need to do? Who's going to help me with my resume? Who's going to do some networking for me? And I know that sounds very selfish right now, but they ask from the spouse point of view. So that's why I'm giving it. Now I'm not even going to say that it's easy for a soldier because I can guarantee it's probably not. But from my point of view, it's very lacking in the support area for spouses. And there's going to be a lot of times where I'm going to need my husband to find a man cave and go sit in it because we don't need to be around each other 24/7.
Yeah.
That's not good.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up. That's why I never leave this office. This is where I'm told to be and stay away from everything else. So I'm like, okay, this is where I am.
Yep.
No, and I'm glad you brought up the employment thing too, Allison, because that's always kind of, I guess, an uphill battle, right? When you PCS, you're constantly moving every 3 years. We talked about the kids and uprooting them, but it is so difficult unless you're working remote, having to bounce around from employment to employment into employment. What can you tell us about that? Like the mental hurdles and maybe like trying to adjust to that every 3 or 4 years as you move, especially when you're like in Germany now, like you can't work in the German, economy, right? Can you, like off base? You'd have to work somewhere on base, right? If you wanted to get a job.
Yeah, the employment hurdle is very high. Currently, don't call, I think this percentage is right. So if somebody Googles it and I'm wrong, so be it. I want to say
Mhm.
it's like 22 to 24% for military spouses of unemployment rate. Now, in the greater, civilian sector, it's like 4. Maybe I'm wrong on that, but that was the last time I saw it. When it comes to overcoming that hurdle, I would love to have an answer. I would love to be like this most wise spouse who has all the answers, but it's so layered and so nuanced, that there's going to have to be a lot of changes in order for spouses to have that ability. Many spouses become entrepreneurs because if they work for themselves, they can have the pro gear in the house. They can work for them. They can do their own timing. They can charge their own dollars, whatever it is, they're in charge of themselves, which feels really good when you have a organization that tells you like where you're going to live and how to breathe and how to walk and all the things. So it's very common for spouses to become entrepreneurs. Speaking of working in Germany, last time we were here, which was 2019 to 2022, I had a professional photography business and I had to register it on the economy because we were currently living on the economy. Like here, we're living on the installation because it's required, which is totally fine. But I had to find and hire a translator because even though I knew this much German, they would not speak to me at all. Like not even entertain it. They wouldn't even let me make an appointment unless I had a translator in the room, which was crazy to me. Especially I'm a Southern born person. So like Southern hospitality and like, let me help me help
Yeah.
you thing. That's not a thing here.
It's very cold, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And plus it's 19% taxes on a lot of things. So it was very eye-opening to run a business here. I didn't last very long because it was that, and we moved after 11 months. So anyway, so yeah, it's a chore. You have to know the SOFA agreements, what you can and can't do. You have to do home-based business license. It's a lot. So a lot of us work online or remotely, and I wish there were more opportunities in that field. But also there was something passed, I can't remember what year it was, to help spouses with like nursing license and things
Mhm.
like that to transfer state to state. However, it failed in the putting it together phase, if you will. Many states didn't figure it out. So it was there and it was really well intentioned, but it just kind of flopped. So it's very difficult for teachers and nurses and people of the sort to transfer their life. Like if they go from Washington State to New York, they have to start over and they have to get a new license and they have to potentially go back and take courses depending on what they're doing. So that's why a lot of us don't have a full-time job.
Yeah, it can be tough. It can be tough. And I and just taking it back to my own experience when I was the approver for the home-based businesses that came across, that was like my extra billet or whatever, like, hey, you're the guy that's going to be looking at the stuff. And there was a lot of like Scentsy. Remember Scentsy? Is that even still a thing? Like the candles? There was a lot of Scentsy parties that people were trying to get past as like the businesses, So I'm like, I can see the entrepreneurial thing there. It's a lot harder. And we were in Japan at the time. It was very difficult to get a job
So
anywhere.
sorry.
Oh, I think.
Okay, there we go.
Oh, I thought we lost you.
German
Thought maybe
internet.
you
I'm
had
so
like
sorry.
no. So I had mentioned the when I was doing the on-base business approvals, a lot of Scentsy parties or a lot of Scentsy catalog candle stuff came across my desk for approval, and Pampered Chef as well, like all these different things, right? And I had to approve these things. I'm like, okay. And there was one that was kind of it was an adult toy party that came across my
I knew that
desk,
was
and
coming. I knew it.
yeah,
Yeah.
and I was like, I don't know if I should approve this. So I brought it up to the CEO, right? And I'm like, hey, sir, what do you think about this? And this person requested it probably 4 different times. And each time he's like, I don't want this. I don't want this. I don't want this. Like just denial, denial, denial. So yeah, crazy stuff. But I mean, if you got to make something happen, if you want to be an entrepreneur, I mean, that's probably one of the best ways to do it. One of the easiest ways to do it, right? It's already kind of like set up for you. Just have these parties and you have all these spouses that come along and, just hang out at, somebody else's house.
Yeah, you have a captive audience immediately.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you're there, right?
And I knew what you were going to say is before you even said it. And I know the name of the business and I'm not going to share it unless you want me to. But yes, that was the thing. That was a
yeah. And the comment here by Backwoods Law, I would love to have seen Vic's face when he was presenting the request to the CEO. And yes, Backwoods Law, I will tell you that I walked into the CEO's office and I said, the first time that came across my desk, these parties come along, they come with a catalog. A catalog was presented to me. And so I grabbed that catalog and I put it in one of those yellow manila folders and then walked it over to the CEO's office and, talked to the secretary and all that. And I'm like, hey, sir, got this here. And he's like, he was a very stoic man. He's like, I see.
You have to have a little humor, at least. Like, it's funny.
You do.
You should have been like, you should take that home. Mind you, I don't know if that even would fit there.
I'm not. Yeah, actually, sir, this one is for you. Here you go.
They put your name on it. It's just for you.
Yeah. So how does it feel for you? Like you just got to Germany. You're encountering a lot of action, right? Maybe some issues. Maybe your household goods are still on the way. You're in temporary lodging. You got kids, right? And you've just found out your husband is about to deploy. You're trying to hold everything down, and I'm sure that you've been there for a month, so he's probably not on leave anymore. Potentially now he's at work now, probably doing the check-in process. But you're also in temporary lodging while he's doing all that. What is some of the obstacles?
He's still here. Like he's not here anymore.
Okay. So we
won't
say where he is.
Like he didn't fully in process. I don't know where he is, so I can't share where he is. Which is lovely. So he was quite literally not even a third of the way down in processing, and then he took battalion command, and they were like, "Bye." So that. It was wild. It was absolutely wild, but what are you to do?
Yeah.
Like, what am I going to do? Sit in the corner
Right.
and cry? Like, yes, I did cry because it's really stupid and it's challenging. But I usually give myself 24 hours to deal with my emotions. And I'm like, all right, I have things I have to do. I have, things I have to write. I have children that I have to take care of. I have a dog that I need to walk. But the challenges here are vastly different, I feel like, than from the States. Thankfully, I've been here before. So I knew where to go. And it's still very challenging. And I'll give you a very good example of this. I've had a power of attorney, as most spouses have, for off and on for 18 years. Most civilians don't even know what that is. But like literally, as you know, you have to have something if you're leaving and or whatever. So I still, to this day, we've been together almost 20 years. And the amount of people that are like, ma'am, you're not the service member, I can't talk to you. I'm not
I
new
can see
here.
that.
And I'm not going to throw the "do you know who my husband is" card, because they don't care. They don't care what rank your spouse is. They don't care whatever. But if you're not a green suitor, they won't talk to you. And I'm like, ma'am, I have a legal document in my hand that was signed by your boss or someone down the hall, and they won't give you information. And I don't understand. Like, you literally work on a military installation. It's your whole job is to help families and soldiers. So like, I don't know what has to change for people to understand, like, hey, when my household goods show up, which I don't even know when that's going to be, the amount of grief that I'm going to get to be able to sign for my own things, my furniture, my workout equipment, my books, my clothes, everything that's there, just because he's not here. They're like, sorry, like, we can't help you. We need to talk to your husband. No, you don't. You really don't.
And that's even with a power of attorney in your hand. So is that when maybe like is it SFRG, or maybe like in the Navy, the ombudsman or the family readiness officer? Is that when they would get involved at some point?
I don't think an SFRG leader is going to be able to help in that situation. In my experience, typically you have a quality assurance officer that helps with moving. A lot of times that is the person that we turn to. And even then sometimes, and I'm going to probably offend some people when I say this, so I apologize in advance, but this typically comes from your older generation. They don't understand that spouses can and do things alone. Like, we are fully capable of receiving household goods. We are fully capable of having babies without our husband present. We are fully capable of doing all the shit because we are forced to do it. And they tend to not understand that we can and we will, and they just need to move out of the way. And I know that sounds kind of harsh, but it's very true, because we get more grief than we get acceptance a lot of time. And depending on your location, some other locations are amazing and they don't have a problem with it. But if you found that one person who's having a crappy day, or they're just a curmudgeon all the time, it's not great.
Yeah, and it depends on the person too, right? That's the problem with it, is it's great that we can get all this information together, and you're putting out a book, and we put out a lot of information as well, but the information is really dependent on location, the person who you're speaking with, and the cup of coffee that they got that morning, whether it was good or bad, right?
Yes.
And you reference older folks, and we've got Navy cop only feeling slightly attacked in the comments.
My apologies. But slightly.
but there's some truth to it, right? But it's also like, how do you, like, this is one of those perfect occasions where, and I know you're going to do it because you're the kind of person to do it, from our quick interactions that we've had, that you're going to figure it out. You're going to find out who the belly button is that you need to push. You're going to get the person involved who needs to write whatever memorandum, and then you're going to go ahead and take all that information and package it nicely together and put it out to the spouses and put it out to a broader audience. And that's really the trick to it, right? Is trying to figure all of that out and understand. And that's the problem is the information, we can only push it so far, right? There's only so much information, only goes so far. And the people who hold the answers keep it really tight knit. And it's intrinsic knowledge versus extrinsic knowledge. So it's the competitive advantage, so they don't lose their job, which they're going to lose their job either way once AI finally takes over. I do want to ask you though. I'm sure there's, and it's probably some stuff that we've already talked about, but I'm sure there's some other stuff. And I want to kind of frame this question in a cute way that maybe will make it a little less edgy. I want to ask you if there's some struggles that you deal with, personal sacrifices that you deal with as a spouse that your husband has no idea about, and if so, how would you go about telling him some of those things, or how would you convey some of those things to him to get his awareness up?
Speaking from experience, so I have no issue talking about this because this is real life, and these are the moments that I want another spouse or even a service member or a veteran to understand that you're not alone. And being vulnerable for 30 seconds to say something to the person that you are closest with and knows you the best could save a life. So I encourage people that if they relate to anything I'm about to say, please understand that it's okay. I am a mental health warrior. That's what I deem myself. So I have been dealing with anxiety for about a decade. However, the last time we were here, my husband, I don't know if you're familiar with this term. I don't know if it's just an Army thing or if it's across all services, but he was doing his key development time, his KD time. So he was the X3 and S3 and XO time. And that meant he was at work like 15 to 18 hours a day. It was constant. So I'm in a foreign country. My husband is never home. And then the pandemic hit. So for someone like me, being forced to stay at home for 2 years was hell on earth because it was so crippling and so isolating, and it was not conducive for a good time while we were here. So on top of that, I also unexpectedly lost my mother while we were here. So you add depression and grief on top of anxiety, and all of those things were brewing resentment in my marriage, which I didn't have the words to put that together yet. I didn't know that that's what I was feeling. My husband knew something was wrong because he could see it on my face. The way I was acting, I knew something was wrong, but didn't know what it was. It took me a long time to be able to say, hey, I need to go speak to someone. I would come home and stare at the television that wasn't even on because I couldn't do anything else. I was doing the bare minimum of keeping my children alive and feeding myself and walking my dog, and that was it. There was no extra energy. There was no extra attention to anything. But finally I sought some help. Now, getting help is another story, because sadly, from a spouse perspective, we moved in the middle of my journey as I started speaking to a counselor here. And at our next location, I reached out to the behavioral health office and I asked to see someone, and they were like, I'm sorry, we can't see you. You're not a soldier, and hung up the phone. And that was very jarring because not only thankfully I wasn't in a crisis situation. Thankfully, I did have my husband there with me, but what if I was in a crisis? What if I needed medication and I needed help? What if, and this person had the audacity to just hang up, not, hey, call this person, call this person, call this person, they can help you. There was nothing. And there are too many spouses that are afraid to say I'm struggling because they know they won't get the help they need. And it's horrible. And I recently saw an article be pushed out to the public. I don't remember what military organization put it out, but it was every 8 days a military spouse commits suicide. I didn't even know they were tracking that, first of all. So that was very alarming. But I feel like the worst part of it, if it can get worse, is the very end of the article said, your feelings will pass. That was their grand gesture. There was no call this number. There was no seek help from this person. There was no help. But I've dealt with these type of situations myself, and it is very difficult to get help as a military spouse. I I can't speak on the soldier side because obviously I've never been one. I hope to God that they would get more help than we do. But there are many spouses that stay in their house because they're terrified that they're going to do something to themselves, or they're going to interact with somebody who's going to make them feel like crap. Our doctors are shoving it off, and they're like, "You're fine. Just lower your stress level," which is the one thing that really lowers the stress level, is when somebody tells you to lower your stress level. So it's difficult in the mental health space here as a spouse. It's very difficult. And if I can tell anybody, again, it doesn't matter if you're a spouse, if you're a soldier, if you're a veteran, it doesn't matter. Like, please ask for help. Send the text message that you're not okay. Tell somebody, hey, I'm not doing well. Can you check on me in 30 minutes? Just reach out. It's you could save your own life or someone else's.
Is there, and that's horrible. That's crazy to me. That doesn't make any sense to me. So I'm hoping there's better ways to do it. Is there any resource that you've come across, like a military one source may be the right answer or not, but is there and it could be specifically to mental health or mental wellness, any specific resource that you've come in contact with that's been able to help people universally, no matter if they're overseas, stateside, spouse?
I don't know of one, sadly. And that's one major way that the military as a whole could really help the situation, is if, I'll use myself as an example. So the therapist that I was seeing in our last installation can no longer speak to me while I'm here, because even though TRICARE approves it in the States, specifically the state I was in, it's a different TRICARE.
Yep.
And so they're like, no, I'm sorry, but if you gave all of these mental health professionals universal access, then nothing would, like, we could talk on the computer. There's nothing stopping us. I mean, COVID gave us this, and that I feel like that's the only good thing that came out of COVID.
Telehealth,
is the ability to do things virtually. And if they would allow us to continue to see a trusted professional, I'm not talking about some John Doe down the street that doesn't know what they're doing, but there's no reason why someone who, like myself, who has talked to a therapist virtually, why are we not allowing that universally? Because they're licensed and they know what they're doing, and TRICARE is already approved of them. So why can't we allow people? Because it takes so much. I don't know if y'all have ever been in therapy, but it takes so long to find. I like
to find somebody who's actually right
to find
for
somebody
you.
who gets it. And it was the first person I ever saw was not a military spouse and wasn't ingrained in the culture. And I spent more than half of my time trying to explain what I was doing and what I was like, the background of everything. And I finally found someone who was also a military spouse. Her spouse has retired since. I don't have to explain those things. She gets the culture. She understands the pressure. She understands all the expectations. And knowing that we find that unicorn and you're like, oh, this is amazing. And I'm doing such good things and I'm feeling so much better. And then you move and it's all gone. Yeah. It just doesn't make sense.
You have to start you have to start from the beginning all over again. Yeah. And Allison, I wanted to ask you here before we go to some questions here in the chat, some really good ones. You're a speaker. I was looking at your site. You speak to people, you speak to, I'm sure, groups of spouses and things like that. Have you ever thought about maybe speaking at TAP classes? Or in front of a TAP group, like, they're told to bring their spouses, but if their spouse or if these coordinators say, hey, look, we're going to have a guest speaker, Allison Burton here, who is a military spouse, can give some insight on military spouse things, whatever that may be, an array of things. Maybe more people would be inclined to bring their spouse, whether it be for a PCS, whether it be for a retirement. Once you get that retirement information, has that ever crossed your mind?
It hasn't. I mean, it's a great thought. Truthfully, I will look into it. The only problem I see is them looking at me and saying what value we're going to bring. Now, I know the value that I bring, but trying to convince someone that is convinced that it's only about the soldier is trying to flip the switch in their brain that the spouse
Right.
is just as important because.
Yeah.
And I use this analogy in my book a lot that we spouses are treated as a side character or a side piece, if you will,
Hmm.
in the military culture, like instead of a main character. Like find me a married service member, doesn't matter male or female, and ask them how they can do what they do and tell me what their answer is. Because I'm 99.5% sure all of them are going to say, because my spouse supports me and because my spouse handles things. That's how they survive. That's how they stay ready. That's how they stay stable. And we are not given that respect and that honor of being needed and trusted and all of those things. Like it's until we are seen as an equal and not somebody that's behind the scenes. No, I'm not
Hmm.
behind the scenes. I stand next to my husband. I absolutely
Yeah.
link arms with him and we go forward together because he's not where he is alone. Like we got there together.
Right. And I can see you. I mean, you have the passion for it. I can see you even doing something like starting something like a spouse tap, like instead of just a regular tap, spouse tap.
I'd be cool with that.
Yeah.
I'll definitely have to work on that because yeah,
Yeah. No,
it's a good
because
idea.
you have a ton of information, and um, somebody had put it here in the comments, and um, Navy cop here. He says, I can't imagine the difficulty of a young new spouse with no real clue getting thrown into the mix while the service member gets deployed. Um,
Yeah.
that I can remember back when I was 18, 19 years old, or 20, or, people get married in the military, young.
Mhm. Mhm.
Um, Imagine that without a good support system in place. You're all on your own.
Yeah.
Stuck in a new place. You've never been there. Some people have never even seen the ocean before, and they're
Yeah.
going overseas now. And
Yeah.
they need a support system like that. I think something like a spouse tap or even like a spouse network. I mean, what you're building is huge, especially for these young folks.
In the past, I have asked questions and maybe I just haven't asked the right person, which is, from installation to installation, you never know who that person is. Because there's always the gatekeeper. And you were talking about earlier
Mm.
about like they're afraid to lose their job. Like I'm really tired of gatekeeping information. Like there's room for all of us. And anyway, that's a whole nother tangent. I apologize. But for a new spouse, I would think every installation should have some sort of in processing, but not the formal in processing that the soldier goes through for the spouse. Because when I think of my husband, is he going to tell me anything that he learned when he went in processing to get somebody to sign a paper? Absolutely not. That goes in one ear and out the other because it's not the mission. He just needs a signature on a piece of paper so he can turn it in and he can go to his office. Like that's all he needs. He needs to check that box so that whoever at Garrison is like, oh, he's here. He's done all the things. He's checked all the boxes. Everyone knows he's alive. So they safely arrived. Everything is good. Why are we not creating? It could be a PDF. It doesn't have to be hard for every single installation. This is where the ACS building is. This is where the PX is. This is where the CYS is. All the things. Because when you are brand new and you're 18 and you've never left your hometown and magically you are married and you're like, holy shit, what did I just walk into? And then he's gone 48 hours later. That's a baby who has no one around them. Like I
Yeah.
remember myself at 18. I didn't know anything. Like I got married at 25 and I still didn't know very much. So your frontal lobe is literally just developing. Like there is a way to mitigate this problem, but nobody seems to want to do it. And if I either want to do it, cool, I'll do it. But like I need other people to be willing to put forth that effort. Email it. Literally, it's an email. It doesn't have to be hard. You don't have to hold their hand and walk them to every place.
Right.
But give them the information so that if they need it and they want it, they have it. It's the lack of communication on the spouse side is mind blowing. You have so many things, social media, you have Instagram, you have Facebook, you have TikTok, you have all these things where so many spouses in different generations are on different apps. We know this.
Yeah.
So why are we not putting out the information where we know people are?
Right.
We have PAO people everywhere for every installation, for every battalion, for everything. So why are we not utilizing them and putting this information where people are actually going to see it?
Yeah. Yeah. There's a great thing that I've noticed when I got here first time in the community, in the military community. It's a Navy community, so maybe that's why, but I don't think that's the case, because I think I've seen a similar sites on like Facebook for Ramstein and for Grafenwehr and different places in Germany and other places. But yeah, you're hitting it right on the head. Like it's not that the information isn't available. It's just the information isn't collectively in a place where people feel like they can ask. It's another reason I believe why we've, Vic put together the military retirement group, right? It's a collective space where people can share information, ask questions,
Yes.
not be judged, and know that the community is curated, right? It's not just some random people in there, especially for military stuff, especially for active duty, but just having a Facebook group. And I think you'll find even the younger generation that don't want to be on Facebook, if they know all the spouses are on Facebook, all the marketplace happens on Facebook, all the events are posted on Facebook, and even like the MWR gets involved, and the other people theater gets involved, and CDC gets involved, and they're posting stuff there as well. You find that community just it grows, and even the younger people embrace it, and they fall in line with it so that they can be up to date on the information. Curb alert, we're throwing stuff away because we're PCS, and if anybody wants it, that kind of thing. It's really, really beneficial for that. But again, it's just this it's a satellite. It's a ball of information, and it depends on where you're at, what installation you're at, or whatever. For our case, the veteran community is spread across the globe. Like we're in literally all across the United States and different countries across the world. And it's hard to wrangle in all that information and curate it and get it put together in such a way that people can get availability to it and not be overwhelmed by it, right? Because there's the other side of the fence, is like getting overwhelmed by the information. But you see the same thing on the way going out, right? There's a checklist. Like you said, your husband did to check the boxes to get it processed. And that's what anybody who's PCS, that's the way it goes. But now that I'm thinking about it and thinking back on the TAP process and getting out of the military, it was the same exact thing. Check all the boxes, make sure you get the signature, take it to the CO, get his stamp of approval, and then go get your 214, and then you're out the door. And then by that point, you're just like, what the hell just happened? Like, oh shit, maybe I missed something.
And we haven't walked through that process yet, but I do write about it in my book because I've spoken to several spouses, and I want to make sure that people that are listening or hear this eventually understand that I didn't write this book as these are only Allison's opinions. While that is fun and great and dandy to think about, there are factual things there. There is proof in the pudding. There is all the stats, all the things that I could find to bring receipts to the things that I'm talking about. But per my friends who have gone through this, like, you're just chewed up and spit out, and they're like, good luck. And it's like, I just gave you 20 plus years of my life and was ready to die for you. And you can't even help me become a member of society on the outside the gate. I've given you every single ounce of my energy and my family time and whatever else. And now I'm just a cog in the wheel. They've now replaced you with an 18-year-old right off the bus. And it's like, it's so frustrating because, the old adage, if the military wanted you to have a family, they would have issued it to you. Like, that's very true. They don't give a shit. Like, they don't care. It's not built to support families. They don't care. But when you have on your website, you're family friendly and you're family first, like, don't put it there unless you're going to do it. Like, don't, that really, you're walking the walk, but not talking the talk, or vice versa, whichever way that goes. But yeah, it's very difficult to navigate that transition, because you don't know how much money you're going to be making, because when you go to the VA, they have some arbitrary scale has to say, well, you're less broken than your neighbor, so you don't get as much money as your neighbor, even though you both did the same thing for 25 years. Doesn't make any sense. Absolutely none. And the healthcare is below the bar, if you will. It's on the floor. I don't know. However low you can get. we're treating our nation's heroes as if they're just like, I don't know, nothing. And I don't
Yeah.
understand, and again, I'm not even speaking about spouses, because that's just deplorable. Is like, we're expecting these men and women to give us everything, and then we just shoo them out the door. It's like, good luck. I
Yeah,
don't.
that is tough. It's tough. And then John and I talk about it all the time. The exit, like the TAP, right? The TAP class or TRS. Um, and from my experience, it's only 3 days. 20 years in the Marine Corps, you get 3 days to figure out how to become a civilian again, right?
3
And
days.
then when you get out, it's like, damn, who am I now?
Hmm.
And if I didn't have my wife at my side, I would have been in a very bad place, very, very bad place. So she was not only the support system, she was also at that point, I suppose, the main breadwinner when I was,
Hmm.
I'm retired now. So I'm playing a lot of different roles here, a lot of different roles. Um, there, I'm sure anybody who has held a leadership position in this live stream or anybody watching, um, can attest to this, can understand this. But I was always taught, as a leader myself in the military, that when the families are taken care of, you get a better Marine or a better soldier or
Hmm.
something like that, because their family is in order, their finances are in order. You're going to get somebody who is going to give their all to the unit, to the mission, because everything is in order, right? You go to legal, get your power of attorney. You go to finance, get all the allotments that you need. Everything's in order, especially before deployment and all that stuff. When the family is not in order, their mind is going to be elsewhere.
Hmm.
It's going to be elsewhere, that.
Very
And a lot
much.
of times, like you mentioned, you as a spouse, you cannot just simply go in there, even if you have a special power of attorney. I know a lot of times they're like, hey, don't do a general power of attorney, because we don't accept those, but a special power of attorney, and it's not accepted, that is a kick to the face, it feels like, because you can't really do anything at that point. Like, I'm helpless. I'm on this base all alone. I'm helpless, right? So I totally agree that they need to do something about this. And Backwoods Law mentioned over here might be a good use of the CG open door policy to get something rolling. Would have to be the right type of CG, though. I could see that being rough. And, I've worked for CGs who are very tough on things and really all about the mission. I've worked for some who are very open to, like, hey, family life, especially when they have a spouse himself who is
Yeah.
very involved in that community. That's when it kind of opens up, because she has his ear, right? Hey,
Mhm.
look, here's what needs to happen, etc. So there's a lot that goes into it, and I understand and I agree. Yeah, there's not a lot of support. Uh, what I have seen work, what I liked, is when I first got to Japan, and we did, like, I did my in processing and all that, and they had a spouse week. And what they did was, they had these big buses, like these whatever, those nice luxury buses, with the nice
Okay.
seats and all that. You sit up high,
Mhm.
and they took the spouses around. First, they gave them a whole tour of the base, showed them where everything was. Hey, here is
That's awesome.
uh, the exchange. Here is the everything, everywhere, all the main buildings. Then they took them off base. Hey, here's where you can do some cool shopping. Here's some sites. Here's these historical sites, parks for your kids, all that stuff. It was like a
Great.
week long, right? They took them all
That's
the way
awesome.
from Iwakuni all the way to Hiroshima and back. It was
Nice.
amazing. And when my wife came back, she's like, wow, I know where everything is, because I could not leave base because I didn't have my gold card, right? Like, I
Mhm.
don't have access to leave the base yet. But when I left the base for the first time, she's like, oh, we can go here. I'm like, oh,
Mhm.
you know where everything is. How cool. This is great. It
Mhm.
would be good if a lot of bases implement that. Now, I haven't been
Yes.
active duty for a long time, so I don't know if any other bases have that. Have you seen anything like that where you are?
I haven't, no. I would absolutely, that would be amazing, especially when you're Oconus, because not only are you navigating a different country and a different language, a different culture, like a lot of
Hmm.
times, if there are only one vehicle, or if you're like me, your vehicle's
Yeah.
still in transit, uh,
Hmm.
having that knowledge and knowing that you have a little bit of freedom to be like, hey, I can get a ride over here, or I can catch a bus or an Uber if they have that where you are. They don't have that here. That's amazing, and I'm sure your wife was probably more confident in herself because she knew she could do something for herself. She knew she had that knowledge, and she's like, yes, I can go to that grocery store, even if I have to walk a mile to get there, or whatever it was. You know, that's empowering to spouses because you're showing them where to go and how to get there, and that you trust them and you are enabling them, like you are empowering them in such a way that I've never heard of that. So I think that's amazing. I wish everybody else did that. That would be such a help, because especially Oconus, it's very isolating. You don't have family members that you can call and be like, hey, I'm going to run to the store. Will you come watch my cranky toddler for me? Or, you know, my husband and I want to have a date night and we haven't had one in 10 years. Can we go out together and not have to share our food? You know, like it's, those things would be lovely.
Yes.
But yeah, it would be great to have those things. I love that.
It would.
Yeah,
It would. Go ahead, John.
I was going to say they used to have a thing in Germany, at least for new, maybe it's just for the soldiers and maybe it's not for the spouses. But they used to do a thing called Head Start. It was like a 2-week program, a 2-week class. And it basically gave you an overview of like Germany and like, especially for first time people, like basic phrases to use. And then they would take I think they would do one day and they would take everybody downtown and like show them some stuff around town. Here at the Navy base, they do a thing called INDOC, where they basically sit you down, they introduce you to all the different services. Well, it's not called ACS here, but like the Fleet and Family, and they have people who explain some of the Italian like culture around you and Sicilian culture, and then they have where you get your vehicle registered. Those people come in and talk to you. The universities that are on the base, they come to the INDOC and they speak and tell everybody about all the classes that are available and where they're at and locations and telephone numbers and emails. I'm baffled that they don't do anything like that.
If they do, my husband has never told me. So I'm not saying they don't. But now when
I'm gonna look it up right now, god damn it.
When we were here the last time, it's highly possible because he was in the Kaiserslautern area. So that's a much lot. He didn't work on Ramstein. He worked oh my god.
Kleber?
No. Can't remember the name of it. Anyway, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. So it's possible that he had that then. He 100% didn't have it this time because we already had been here, and with his position, there was no time for that. But I hope that it's happening, at least for the soldiers. But again, you've got such a communication gap between they're being overloaded with information of this is your new unit, this is your new mission, this is your new house, this is your new boss, blah, 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 blah. They're not going to retain any of that and share it with their spouse. Because traditionally, and I'm not trying to be offensive, but traditionally men don't relay details. Women want all the details. We want to know what people are wearing and what type of shoe wear that they're going to wear when we go to a hail and farewell. Guys don't care. Guys don't care. They y'all put on the same thing no matter what you're going to. And I love that for you. And I wish it was that way for women, but we need the details, and it just falls through the cracks. And my husband is the same.
And that's why we encourage people for TAP, at least, and for anything like that, to bring your spouse with you. Like, bring your spouse, even if they're bored out of their mind and they get there and they have to sit through a bunch of lectures. Like, they're going to take the notes that you're not going to take, and then you can compare notes afterwards.
You know, Allison, you hit me right there with we wear the same thing every day. My daughter brought that up to me. She's like, Dad, you wear the same thing. You look like you're homeless, Dad. I'm like, she's like, you cycle through the same like 5 shirts. And I'm like, yeah, that's all I need, right?
Yeah.
I'm not a very complicated person. I'd like to just pick something out and do it. Go ahead, John. I didn't mean to interrupt you, John. Go ahead.
No, I totally forgot what I was gonna say. I was thinking of something and I was leading up to it and trying to do the transition over to it, and then it just fell apart. Like I bombed.
I'll tell you real quick then, Allison. And this is something I had a all right, I'll preface it with this. My brother is about to retire from the Navy, right, next month, and I reached out to his wife. They've been married for I don't know, maybe 8 years or so, maybe even less than that. And I reached out to her just to kind of give her some insight. I'm like, okay, well, you've never been you haven't been with this guy long enough to understand, right? Like the whole military journey. Maybe she's only been with him during like one enlistment. And I reached out to her just to say, hey, look, there's going to be a loss of identity after he leaves the service because he's so involved in what he does, right? And afterwards, you're going to be a big support system for him, And then I told my wife afterwards, and she's like, "Oh, I'll reach out to her as well." Sister-in-law is sister-in-law. But then after, we talked a long time, and afterwards, she asked me, "Hey, just by the way, we're doing this whole retirement ceremony for him and all that stuff. What kind of gift should I get him?" And I sat there and I'm like, huh. I'm like, well, you shouldn't get him anything. And she's like, well, what do you mean? It's his retirement. I'm like, no. This is more for you, for the family, right? Yeah, he gets a nice little medal on his uniform and, whatever retirement. But this is for you. He should be giving you something, and your kids as well for you for supporting him. And she's like, huh, I didn't think about it that way. I'm like, yeah, don't get him a thing. Maybe like a hug, maybe like a thank you or, something. He should be thinking about you at this point. Because I don't remember my wife getting me anything, but, I did give her, flowers and my daughter flowers, my kids ammo cans and stuff like that filled with toys, things like that. But I firmly believe that the retirement is not for the person specifically, right? For the service member, yes, good. You did great things for 20 years. Awesome. We're here to celebrate you, but more so, we're here to celebrate the person who has been at your side for so long, holding down the fort per se, and taking care of the kids. There's a reason why your kids are healthy and here at your retirement ceremony because of this person. There's a reason why they're dressed well and not looking homeless. It's probably because of the person at your side.
I love that perspective. Honestly, I haven't heard that before, and I absolutely hope that other people feel that way. I will say that, and my husband will probably never hear this because he's the most non-technological person ever. But he will probably be getting an engraved bottle of Blanton's because like he loves that. And that's it, Jack. Like, I love you, but let's get this shit on the road. Like I'm done. Like before we got married, our goal was he gets to say what we do for the 20-year career, and then I get to choose. 25-year-old me thought that was really cool. And I was like, oh, I get to pick where we live. I get to pick what we do. And now I'm like, this man is going to drive me batshit crazy if I don't pick the right place, because like, I don't need him to be hot and angry all the time because he does not deal well with heat. And given his current, what I'm assuming location is, he's fairly angry. But that's another story. So yeah, it sounds really good in theory when you're like, yeah, I'll let you do all the things. I've been doing all the things for 20 years. Can you do all the things now? Like, can I write you an SOP of how to run the house so I don't have to do it? Because I know you understand an SOP and I know you understand all that shit. So do I need to put my brain on paper for you? Because I will. Like, I will gladly give you all the login information that we've had for 20 years and you don't remember. Like, I've been paying bills for 18 years. Have at it, please. Go ahead. Like, I would love that.
Yeah,
like,
it gets frustrating when I get a text message in the middle of the day, hey, we need these groceries. I'm like, damn, like that now I got to do something. Now I have
you got to leave the house.
Orders
you
now.
got to put real pants on and you have to leave the house.
Yeah, right. What the hell? So can't wear my silkies anymore. Yeah, but there's there's a lot that goes along with that, and it's tough to transition, and I'm very curious, and I'd love to hear your perspective after, like, I don't know how long you have before your husband decides to retire or all of you decide to retire, right? But I would love to hear your perspective after the fact, maybe a few months down the road, to see how that transition is going. Like, oh, he's doing great, or man, I'm doing more work than ever.
I would absolutely love to share that with you when it happens. As of right now, we're 2.5-ish years away, supposedly, allegedly. Who knows? Because if the Army decides to be like, here's a shiny little carrot and we're going to move you to another European location, sign me up. Like, Yes, please.
Mhm.
I will gladly move to another European location because that means I get to travel and I get to experience all the different cultures because I absolutely love that. We love taking our children absolutely anywhere we can. So if that's the carrot that you're going to dangle in front of me, done. If you're going to send us to Fort Sill, Oklahoma, hard pass, drop the packet. Like we're done. Like I'm no thank
Yeah.
you. No thank you. I don't I don't want to do it. But I will definitely, probably, most likely be that annoying spouse in the tap class, raising my hand every 5 seconds, going, "Excuse me, can you give me more information about that? Who can I speak to? Because you clearly don't have all the information." Like, I'm going to be annoying my husband because I'm going to talk a lot, and I don't care because this is my life also. Like, I've spent my
Right.
entire midlife, early life, I don't know, 25 to 40 supporting his career. So this time for me to be able to do things also. And I'm not going to stand behind and be like, I'm going to watch you do all the things by yourself. You know, it's hard. It's definitely a switch. And also you talked about identity being taken, you know, you lose your identity. I understand and I empathize for sure because when you've put on a uniform, the same uniform every day, you don't have to worry about what
Mhm.
you're wearing. You have standards, you have hair standards, you have facial hair standards, you have all the things. Somebody's telling you exactly what to do and when to do it, and then that's gone. Like I can't imagine, you know, it's different for obviously the service member and the spouse. But like, I can't imagine how that feels. Because you've had a mission and you've had a goal and you've had, you know, all the things that people are telling you to do. And it's like, who am I now? I
Yeah.
cannot put myself in those shoes at this point. Maybe my husband will give me that insight whenever we walk through that path. But according to us, I always say, what are you going to do when you grow up? Which is when he gets out of the army.
Mhm.
Supposedly we have to have that conversation in like 6 months. So while we're in battalion command, we're supposed to have that conversation, and I'm not sure that's a great time to have that conversation, um, especially if he's still deployed. But anyway, I digress. It's going to be an interesting conversation.
Yeah, it sounds like it. And I will tell you, it's about the routine. It's about keeping
Mhm.
a routine after the fact because you can fall off really quick. You know, we that's a topic for I can talk about that for hours. Um, and real quick, we got a good question here from Roy Estrada.
Okay.
Allison, how do you protect yourself and your family when you become the go-to person when supporting other spouses? What guardrails do you put up so it does not so it does negatively, I assume, so it does not negatively impact your family?
It's a very good question. Being that I've put my face quite literally on the internet and I'm the vocal person right now that is trying to make waves and be the squeaky wheel that gets the grease. I have parameters. My personal Facebook, Instagram, blah blah blah, all the things are locked down tight. That way, in my family business, you most likely won't see my husband because not that he's not here or not that he doesn't exist, but our private life is our private life. I do put up boundaries. I will talk about my husband, but it will be in vague terms. You won't see my children on any of my public platforms because you know they are my children, and I'm not going to
Mhm.
subject them to absolute crazy that is the internet. In regards to being the go-to spouse, I have a few things to say about this. So I am what's called the strong friend. I don't know if you've understood, if you ever have heard this term. Like every friend group has the strong friend, the friend that the perception is they have their shit together and they know what they're doing and they don't have problems, or if they have problems, they deal with them by themselves, and nobody checks on those people because they think they always have it together. So I am that friend. I am the strong friend. And it's very difficult to be the strong friend because when you are like, I need some help, a lot of people don't really respond because they're not used to that. But giving myself the grace to have a hard day and to have a day where I'm like, my phone's going on do not disturb, and I really don't care if the house is not burning and nobody's bleeding or you don't see a bone, don't call me. Like, mm-mm. Give yourself some grace and be like, I've given everyone every bit of myself. It's the whole pour from an empty cup situation. And I use the analogy in my book of I feel like military spouses are more like a colander because the military continues to poke holes and like there's no one patching the holes unless we try to patch them ourselves. So like how are we supposed to help others when we are drowning and everything's gone because we're giving everything to everyone else. So we have to focus on taking care of ourselves. And if that means a day of no technology, do it. Please do it. Read a book, go as the younger kids say, because I'm not one of them, go touch grass. Like literally go touch the grass, go walk your dog, like whatever it is. But I do take those days where I'm like, not today. Like I don't need text messages. I don't need phone calls unless it's my husband. He's the only one that can break through the D&D.
Good. I love that.
Excellent. Before we forget to mention it, and especially to you and your family, happy birthday, Army, today,
Yeah.
June
Right.
14th.
Happy birthday, Army.
Yes.
Brought to our attention by untrackable 5705 in the comments. Thank you for that. Appreciate that. I've been out of the Army too long and I totally forgot. No, I didn't. I don't think, I mean, we could probably get to some more comments. I don't see too many in here.
Well, we got one from Navy Cop here, and he's asked it twice now.
Yeah.
Let me pull it up here real quick.
Mhm.
So this question for Allison: I'm going to be offering vet coaching, peer mentoring as part of that is adding spouse support as well. As a veteran, would you avoid my services because I am not a spouse?
I would not, no, because if you are telling me you're going to help I would be very curious as to what you're going to say. Am I going to kind of give you a side eye in the beginning? Probably. Because what are you going to tell me unless you bring your spouse? If you bring your spouse and you have your spouse deliver it, that's totally different. I would encourage you to bring your spouse if they are willing and able to do that. But yes, I would definitely want to listen. Like, what do you have to tell me? Because you don't know what you don't know. And I'm open-minded and I don't care who's going to give me information as long as it's decent information. But I definitely would encourage to either have your spouse or a different spouse also be there so they can give their point of view on the information, because members only jackets and all that stuff. Like we are our own people and we relate to each other more than we relate to a service member.
Yeah. And you can link up with the Navy Cop on the buddycheckproject.com. We shout him out all the time because he's our day one, right?
Yeah.
But maybe he's interested in setting something up, and if you're interested in doing something alongside.
Yeah, I would love for him to reach out simply because on my website, there is a list of resources that I have vetted myself or my very close friends have vetted for me. And it is for all military services. It's for spouses, it's for families, it's for EFMP, it's for food insecurity, all the things. So I would love more information if they have a website that I can send people to. I'm always adding resources because it can be hard to ask for help. And if people can access that at midnight when they're scrolling through their phone and they don't have to, feel uncomfortable in front of someone saying, excuse me, I can't feed my family today. Can I ask for some help? I really would love to have their resources if they have a website.
Yeah. Excellent question from Navy Cop too. And Navy Cop, just FYI, you can't have that section on resilience anymore, man. You got to take that out of your training.
Gone, son.
Yeah.
Change the name. Please. Already plan on reaching out. Awesome. I don't know who you are, but thank you.
Yeah. Navy Cop is great dude.
Yep.
So Allison, your website, again, let me put that up there in the chat here so everybody knows where to go to. And potentially, I mean, if any spouses are listening on the chat, and when we have these live streams posted up, people always kind of still find it based on the descriptions and stuff that they're looking for, and military spouse is one that's very sought after on YouTube as well. So let me put up your website on there. And what is the name of your book, and then when is it coming out?
The name of my book is Silent Ranks, Loud Burdens. We are the silent ranks, and the absolute bullshit that we deal with needs to be said louder. So I'll leave it at that. But I'm hoping, fingers crossed, it would be the end of 2026, potentially January 2027. If anybody has any connections with a publisher that wants to throw money at me, I will gladly entertain that conversation because my husband's not keen on spending $10,000 to get a book published, and I don't really want to pay that either. So
Yeah.
that would be welcome. Also, before I forget, if anyone needs to reach out to me for any certain thing, it doesn't matter. My inbox is always open, whether it's support, whether it's mental health, it doesn't matter. My inbox is always open to absolutely anyone. You can access that. My email is on the bottom of my website. And also you can use the contact form on my website. So I want people to understand it's a safe space here. You're not gonna be judged. So use that if you need it. If you don't, that's okay too.
Excellent.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Great. Yeah. Great stuff, Allison. And is there anything you want to leave the audience with on your perspective, your experience, and your knowledge?
The first thing that comes to mind is listen to spouses, whether it's your own spouse, it's other spouses. If you want information about military spouse life, don't assume, please ask, because there's been a lot of assumptions, decades of assumptions. My goal is to get military spouses, specifically current military spouses, a seat at the table. I need us to have a seat at the table where decisions are being made that affect spouses and families, because there are men and women that are making choices that regard our lives that have never walked in our shoes. And that's not okay anymore. We're still dealing with the same issues 50 years ago as we are today as a military spouse. And it's time for it to stop. It's time for spouses to not be quiet anymore and hold all this in. And so that is definitely, I guess what I would say is, if a spouse starts explaining something to you, don't brush them off. Validate their feelings and understand what they're saying. Don't listen just to listen to understand.
I love that. I love it. Well, Allison, it has been awesome having you here on the Military Retirement Podcast. And, we got a ton of questions on here, and thank you everybody who was asking the questions. Check out Allison's website, allisonburton.co. Reach out to her if you have any questions, especially if you have any active duty in the room and spouses that may need a little bit of guidance or have some questions. Allison is the person to go to. Allison, I appreciate you coming on.
Thank you. It was fun. Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's been amazing, and best of luck in your second tour in Germany. If you need anything on the Deutsche Sprache side, just let me know. Like I said, I'll call a friend who can call a friend, maybe.
I love that. I don't claim to have all the answers, but I will definitely find someone who does have an answer if I do not. So I am a connector by trade / down to my core. I don't know. Choice. There you go. So yeah, I definitely appreciate that. I will hopefully be, where are you again? Sicily? Is that what you said?
Down Sicily. Yep.
Yeah. We may be vacationing there. So I may have to email you about that.
or coming down here and PCSing. No, maybe.
Nice.
not really. Not really too many spots here. Yeah, no, definitely. And I would by all means go to the ACS and talk to them and say, hey, do you guys have a Head Start class? And if so, why haven't you told me about it yet?
It's fair. That's fair.
Kind of ridiculous.
I'm not afraid to do that.
Anymore.
Yeah,
they may not do it anymore.
The only Head Start that I'm aware of is like a preschool program for children before they go into kindergarten. So I don't, the name may have changed. So I will find out. Maybe.
Yeah, it's probably not
so awesome.
PC,
Thank you. I appreciate it.
PC anymore. Yeah. Thanks for coming on. Thanks for entertaining us on the podcast and putting out some really good information. And when you're ready to send the book out there, when you've got it ready for publication and got it ready for the masses, let us know and we can
Will do.
Put a little plug in for you.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you so much.
All right.
Have a good one.
Yeah, that was a great conversation, man, from a perspective that we don't normally see.
Yeah.
It is, you see the mission, you see the service member, but rarely do you hear the perspective of the person at their side, and John, I think I mentioned to you at one point, I'd be on duty sometimes driving around base, and I'd see like spouse networks, and I just see a gathering of people, just having, dinner together or something like that. And, I thought, okay, well, this is kind of a tight group, almost like the service members in uniform, like a tribe, right? You got to kind of stick together a little bit, and that's what keeps it going, man. Without that, you're kind of lost. And I can only imagine. I can't recall who put the question up there, but I can only imagine somebody who is like young and married, and maybe going CONUS, or it doesn't matter where you are, but just kind of following the service member around,
Yeah.
and just feeling lost, just feeling
Yeah.
like, man, I don't know who to contact, where to go, and it is good to have that network available.
Yeah. Yeah, you really need it. And I was going to get into that, and I think that was the question that I kind of it's eluded me when I was thinking of it initially. But with the op tempo right now that we have, the operational tempo of everything going on in multiple places, and I've seen it here as well, right? The op tempo drives a lot of things, and there's a lot of people getting displaced, whether it's from the Middle East back to Europe, back to the States, or vice versa. There's so many things going on right now. I can not even imagine hitting the ground and within literally, days or weeks, hopping on a plane and then deploying and leaving my family behind for an undetermined amount of time to an undisclosed location, and all the fun things that go along with that. That's insane. And then if you couple that with being newly married, first or second term in the military, or even fresh out of AIT, right? Because some people get married in or around AIT or before AIT, which is advanced individual training. So whatever that specialty school is for your military specialty that your job is going to be, and then going to your first duty station, married, potentially with a kid, overseas, somewhere in Germany or Belgium or wherever you happen to be, and then going immediately from there to deployment. Because most of those, a lot of the deployed folks come from, the overseas locations, because they're right there in the mix of it, right there, supporting NATO and supporting other organizations. So yeah, that's insane. It's crazy. But that's definitely why we wanted to call Allison on to the show, to get that perspective. And then hopefully in a couple of years, depending on if they get a sunny location or not in Europe, then we'll have her back, hopefully, and maybe her husband as well, if he's game for it, to talk about that. Always love getting that perspective, because it's the 80% behind this. It's the iceberg, right? The tip of the iceberg is the service member on top, looking all proud in their uniform, and then the 80-90% of the iceberg below the surface is the family unit, the spouse, the wife, the husband, the kids, the dogs, the cats, the goldfish, all of those things underneath the iceberg that you don't necessarily see, that are not in the spotlight. And it's like warrant officers are the quiet professionals, and the spouse and the family unit supporting the military member are the super extra quiet secret squirrel professionals, that they do all the stuff, take care of all the things, so that we can do what we do in uniform. So amazing.
Or like a duck, right? The duck is cool and collected
Exactly.
up top, and then the legs are going like crazy, right, at the bottom. Yeah,
exactly.
So man, just once retirement hits, those freaking legs, it'll just be a blur. So much stuff going on.
You get arthritis in your legs.
Oh, don't get me started.
After retirement.
Service connected. So yeah, no, a lot of great stuff, man. And like, she brought something up that kind of made me think too. Like, you have to ask, like, for almost like permission, right? Even though you have the power of attorney, you got to ask, when you go to these offices, and like, hey, I'm why can't I do this? I'm, he's deployed, or he's TDY. I need to get this stuff done. And they just kind of turn you away. Yep. And to be honest, man, I haven't felt that. And I don't think I've ever felt that, right? Being in uniform. However, I did feel that at one point when I tried to do something with a doctor's appointment. And it was, because we're under my wife's insurance now, because she's a federal employee. I am no longer a federal employee. So I go and try to book something or change. I forgot what I was doing. And they're like, oh, we need the person who runs the account to contact us. And I'm like,
Sponsor.
yeah, the sponsor, right? And I'm like, but I'm nobody at this point, right? I'm
Second class citizen.
I can't sit there. Do you know who I used to be? I can't do that anymore. Do you know who I used to do?
Hold on,
Bill,
let me turn my head inside out. Hold on a second.
Oh, damn,
right back.
Dude. And it was frustrating, dude, because I was like, and she was at work. I was trying to call her. I was like, hey, I need your stuff. And I'm like,
babe,
it was frustrating. And I can only imagine doing that for 20 years, just getting turned away. It was a pain. And that's something I hadn't felt in like almost ever, right? Because it was so easy. I'm like, as the chief warrant officers or like any officer really, like, or high ranking enlisted person, you can walk around base and just kind of like, hey, things get done, dude. Like you go in, I walk in an office like, hey, I need this done. Oh, it's going to take a while. Hey, is so-and-so here? Let me talk to so-and-so real quick. And I'll just walk to the back and talk to them like, hey dog, and they'll get it done. Like, cause people, you network, people. And, it's just completely different outside, man. It's like you have to conform to whatever it is. You can't just go up there and talk to your boy. Hey, can you get this done, man? Oh yeah, we got you, dude. We got you. Yeah, man.
Definitely.
So yeah, Mo Perspective. Welcome to the live stream. She's like, tell me about it. Arthritis. Yeah, Mo Perspective has. She's Mo. I believe she's retired Army as well.
Yeah.
I've seen her live stream, excellent live streams, just goes on and talks about her experiences, her days and all that. So great stuff. Mo Perspective. Welcome to the live stream. A lot of good stuff on here, man. Let me see. I'm just looking through some of these comments so that way we don't miss anything.
Yep.
Understandable and breaks through explaining. 6 years. West Berlin. Oh, okay. So I think we got through a couple of them, and I'm glad we got Navy Cops answer on there as well. Was it every civvy job I've had? I waited for leadership. Some days I thought, do I have to do everything myself? No, live your beautiful life. They quit, they get fired. We maintain the mission. Yeah. And one thing we got to understand too, it's they call it like the green machine, right? Like, hey, you can be replaced. You may be great at your job, but you can be replaced. Like we all know about it. I went, started my terminal leave 2 weeks or maybe a week as I was about to start my terminal leave, my replacement came on deck and we did a turnover, and it was like, well, okay, it's that easy, right? Like dude's got orders. He just comes in and takes over. I show him the ropes, where I keep everything and all that. And all right, it's all yours, man. I'm out of here. Go say my goodbyes. And it just keeps going.
Yep.
It just keeps going, dude. You're another, was it cog in the wheel in the machine?
Yeah, exactly.
And it's kind of, thinking about it, it's like, man, it's kind of heartbreaking too. It's like, man, just when you think you are irreplaceable and doing some great things, it's like, not really though. I mean, you might be good, will reflect your fit rep will reflect, but we got to keep the thing going. The mission's going.
Yeah, that's right. Obtaining information instead.
Yeah. So,
okay, quick question, not so related, but from Tony Slaughter. Any tips on retaining information when studying? Not really related, but yeah, we'll entertain it.
All right. Okay. So this is a great question. I like this one because I have very severe ADHD, ADD. I don't know, ADHD. So I have a lot of trouble retaining information when studying, and I noticed that early on in my military career. And I went through this whole neurological thing, right? They had this huge neuroscience lab in Camp Lejeune, like really nice, right? And went through a bunch of tests and stuff like that, cognitive tests and all that. Come to find out, like, hey, yeah, I have trouble retaining stuff. Cool. how do I get past that? Because I can't not retain things, right? Like I have to work with this. I understand my faults. I have to adapt, improvise, and overcome. So I relied heavily on my logbooks, literally. Like that's why I called the channel the Green Logbook, because these things got me through a 20-year career. Without them, I'd be completely lost. I would have like failed constantly. So I write a lot of stuff down, I go through a lot of ink, right? I don't really like using the notes app. I will if I have to, but I would say as far as retaining information, write things down. You know, it could be keywords, but write things down. When studying, I've talked about it before. I turn on that 40 hertz studying noise or music, and I put on my headphones when I'm doing my, especially with like this master's program. I got these headphones here, cover my entire ear, and it blocks out the exterior noise. And I'm just in the zone, dude. I am in the zone. There's also things you can do. You can if you have like a lot of issues, a lot of trouble, you can go to the doctor. They'll issue you some medication for that to get you focused and all that. So you can do that. But a big thing that I've learned is write things down, you know, use that music without any words. That helps me. And where I'm not a computer, I'm not a multimedia system or anything like that. I have to focus on one thing at a time. If I have too much stuff on my desk and I'm focusing on too many things at one time, nothing is going to get done. So I have to literally clear off the desk and just focus. Like when I'm doing my homework, I got to focus on the homework.
Yeah.
If I have receipts and if I have notes around, I'm going to take a second. I'm going to look to the side and I'm going to get into something else. And then this homework never gets done. So I've learned that very quickly about myself. John, I'll turn it over to you, man, if you got anything.
No, I'm the same. I don't want to admit to it, but I think I might actually be in that kind of ADHD spectrum. And I probably need to get it thing like looked at. But I'm the same. I can't do multiple things at one time. I have to focus on one thing. I've been doing a lot of reading on, because I've been looking for some note-taking apps and things that I can better improve my note-taking. Went and got an iPad at some point. My wife pushed me down the iPad path with the little pencil thing so I could take written notes on the iPad for school, of course, and for other things. So tactilely, it's similar, I guess. And I would say the beauty of note taking either way, whether you're doing it digitally or doing it handwritten, especially if you have decent handwriting, or if you can train like a Google Gemini or a ChatGPT how to read your handwriting, you could then take to be able to organize and dig through and search through your stuff and find and summarize information. You could actually take a picture of your handwritten notes and put it into like a chat thing in ChatGPT or whatever. Just open one single chat and just take the pictures of the notes and let it transcribe the notes. And then you can then better gather your thoughts and summarize your thoughts. So if you're doing it typed out, it's actually really good. If you can do it handwritten and it can read it, that's good. If you can do it handwritten on a digital device like an iPad with an Apple Pencil or something like that, or any kind of digital writing device. I think they have another one called Unwritten or Unpenned or something like that. There's another one out there with the flat tactile screen, and it's basically monochrome colored screen. There's no internet on it, but if you could do that with notes, you can definitely like throw that into one of those AI chat things and have it summarize your notes and be able to dig back through and piece together commonalities to be able to decipher your notes. And because that's when you're thinking and you're writing stuff down, at least in my case, it's usually free form. I don't usually stop and like edit anything. I don't care if I'm making run-on sentences. I don't care if my stuff isn't spelled correctly. But I have been looking into it because I've been looking at some research recently in part of some of my classes where remarkable, thank you, Navy Cup, where your brain, the way your brain works when you're writing stuff down, and it's why writing is so important. Writing down everything, the way your brain works when you're writing stuff down versus typing stuff out. Because when you're typing, you're literally just hitting the same keys over and over and over. When
Right.
you're writing stuff, you're actually writing completely different patterns, and you're putting that together, and your brain works a lot harder whenever you're writing stuff, and it helps in the process of memorization and being able to regurgitate information and memorize and keep information in your brain from the act of actually writing versus typing. So some interesting studies out there about that. And that's what I've been looking into lately.
And I like what Navy Cop brought up here too. Is it ADHD or is it short-term focus from years of social media conditioning? And yes, I will say that it is the short-term or the social media conditioning has a lot to do with it. There's a good study, and I brought it up. I mean, there's a ton of studies on this. This one is by the National Library of Medicine. It's on PubMed. So if you ever do any research or anything like that, you can find this on PubMed. It's called Daily Associations Between Social Media Use and Memory Failures, the mediating role of negative effect. I'll share a link on it here if anybody's interested in the read. But there's a ton of studies done on this about how social media affects your mind frame or your mindset. Not mindset, but the way you remember things, right? Because we're so attuned now to, like, say, shorts, right? So the idea with this, in keeping the attention of, say, like kids, if you ever watch something that's made for kids, every 3 to 5 seconds, the scene will change. There will be different colors to keep the attention. If you're watching something and just somebody talking the entire time, it looks like a lecture. Think of like the dry eyes guy, right? This is dry. Remember that dry eyes guy with a very monotone voice?
Yeah.
Nobody wants to listen to that for an extended period of time. There's a reason why things change, colors change, scenes change every 3 to 5 seconds. Just watch whatever kids are watching on YouTube Shorts, or I don't know what the hell kids watch these days, but the scene will change to keep their attention. And when that goes away, it's like, man, I can only keep my attention for 3 seconds at a time. We become goldfish, man. We become goldfish. We can only retain so much information. And the big reason why I don't let my kids watch too much of that trash, it's called brain rot, right? They just constantly watching shorts and then changing of scenery. It's like, it's not good as they grow older. So yes, it has something to do with the social media and the constant flow of information. I don't think that we are made for that constant flow of information. Like it's a hose to the face. But a lot of it has to do with, I mean, I've noticed this since I was younger, right? And even before social media, when I was like in my teens, I'm like, shit, I'm having a tough time retaining information. So I'm writing everything down. So I think it stems to before I had like internet access. But I really noticed it when I was in the Marine Corps, where I was put into positions of like leadership. And I'm like, all right, fuck, I can't remember this 5-paragraph order. I'm freaking, my hands on fire trying to write everything down while everything's being briefed, right? So it's a little bit of both, I think, in my instance. But for youth growing up now, it's easy. It's very easy to throw around, I have ADHD. It's a very easy term to throw around.
Yeah.
But you got to look at it. What's bringing that on? Is it something genetic? Is it because of social media?
Yeah, and I think there's a spectrum to any of the diagnoses for anything, whether it's ADHD or autism or anything like that. I think there's a diagnosis spectrum, and I would say most humans fall into somewhere on that ADHD spectrum, as well as on like the autism spectrum. I feel like there's not one person who doesn't, even if it's just nudging the line, on one end or the other end of the spectrum. I feel like all humans, because of the fact that we're all built from the same kind of core DNA, right? We're all basically built from the same core elements. So why wouldn't that be the case? That's my hypothesis. I don't know. That's my theorizing and my hypothesis on it. But yeah, I feel like it's something that I need to go check out and get looked into, and just doing a little research on it. And that's the kind of interesting thing about being in school and spending time trying to learn and spending time trying to put stuff into my brain as well. Like we were being asked here in the comments, is because of the fact that you can actually go off on these little tangents, and you can go find information, and you can go dig into things and start to better understand what's going on. Sometimes it's not healthy, but in a lot of cases it is. It's good, and then it helps you to be able to understand better, because also it boils down to how you actually absorb information, right? It's not just the method of what you're doing, but does that method actually align with how you absorb information, how you remember stuff, how you process information? I feel like that's really important to understand that first and foremost, and then finding the method to match to that. I feel like is the trick to making it work, and then finding your process of how you ingest information, whether you do it sit down for 2 hours and ingest information, or you do it for 30-minute stints and then you take 15-minute breaks, or if you read something for 10 minutes one day and then you skip to the next day and read 10 minutes again. It just depends on how you process and how you actually remember stuff and how you absorb information.
Yeah, and it takes a while to learn that about yourself too. Trial and error. That's how I found out, hey, the writing thing. So, like for instance, when I read a book, I'm a slow reader, right? I if something doesn't interest me in a book, I will not read it. Like if the beginning doesn't catch me, I'm like, maybe I'll move on to the next one. But I do often skim through a lot of things, and I'll catch keywords, and then I'll kind of reread it if it's interesting to me. A lot of times I found myself kind of reading the same sentence over and over. If there's like any like noise in the background, I'm like, okay, well, I got to reread the sentence, or like I'll just continue. Like if there's any kind of distraction, John, do you remember when we did a live stream or a podcast before, and you turned on some music?
Yeah.
And I started talking, and I'm like, I can't do this. I cannot focus while there's music playing in the background, right? Because I was trying to talk about something, and then it was coming in. That's different than these, 40 megahertz gamma, whatever it is, sounds on YouTube that I listen to. Those are just sounds. Doesn't have a beat really. It's just wow. It's just sounds. That really helps out, I think. But yeah, it takes a lot of trial and error to find out what really works for you. It really does. And what is on here? Tony Slaughter, I mentioned, hey, what do you do to learn fast and remember things? To learn fast and remember. I think you're giving us too much credit, man. No, it's you got to be interested in what you're researching, man, what you're looking at, what you're trying to learn. I had the same thought. Like when I was at TBS, the basic school, we had classes on leadership, on, that, because you're going from enlisted to officer at that point. We had classes on leadership, on different things, right? Moral compass and this and that. And I was kind of amazed at like the amount of knowledge that a lot of these instructors possessed. And I sat there at one point, and I'm like, man, how do they retain all this, right? But it's just, they're going off of whatever they're talking about on the slides. And I thought to myself, okay, well, maybe it's repetition. They've done this for so many times. It's repetition. Yeah. So if it's something new to you, like, have you ever given a talk or, a presentation, just kind of last minute, and you kind of have to wing a lot of the stuff, right? It's like, oh, damn, like I don't really know about everything on this slide. So let me just read off the slide a little bit. hey, I don't know it, so I'm just gonna kind of wing it a little bit. But if you spend time learning about it and understanding the content and actually genuinely are interested in it, you're going to absorb that a lot more. Kind of like I had a conversation recently with somebody who wanted to start a YouTube channel, and their question was, "Hey, how do I know what to start? Like maybe I want to do something, I don't know what to do." And I'm like, "Okay, well, what do you like?" And they were like, "Oh, I want to talk about finances and all that," but and they're in finances, right? And they're like, "Yeah, but it seems to be such a saturated market, a saturated thing on YouTube." He's like, "Maybe I'll talk about something else." I'm like, "Well, okay." And he brought up some other things. I'm like, "Are you interested in these things?" They're like, "Oh, it's okay." I'm like, because if your passion is not there, then you're never going to want to talk about these things. You're never going to want to research them and learn about them as much as somebody who is actually passionate about this stuff. Meaning that your channel, I mean, you could push through it for a while, but that fire is going to fade, man. So you got to want to learn about whatever your topic is. And as far as remembering things, dude, it's writing things down. I
Yeah.
got sticky notes around my office just to remind me stuff, man. And just if I know that I need to do something, I'll put a sticky note by the door because I know at some point I got to open the door. Just put it where it's most convenient, where you're going to remember things. That works for me at least.
Yeah, and I like his additional comment. He's talking, I guess maybe he's talking about school stuff or maybe talking about certification stuff. But when you take the practice exam, you're getting passing marks. That's all that counts, man. Like, I don't know. My thought process at this point is like, yeah, it's great to get the highest grade in the class or whatever the group setting may be or wherever I may be, and it's great to be competitive and all that stuff. But sometimes like second place isn't bad if you're doing good overall and your overall batting average is 350 or 300. You know what I'm saying? Like, okay, that's what we're not shooting for the all-stars every single game, right? If you're passing the practice exams and that's one of the better ways to, in that particular instance, to be able to retain the information is to take practice exams, whether it's flashcards or an actual practice exam. And not only to do that, but to set a time limit on it, right? A lot of those practice exams that you take for certification specifically, they have like a hour and a half, 2 hour time limit, 3 hour time limits for a certain number of questions. So if you're trying to internalize something, and let's say it's kind of rote information, like you're learning about parts of the anatomy for nursing school or something like that.
You lost me already, man. You lost me.
but you can learn those. So like it's 206 bones in the body. There's so many muscles. Everything is derived from Latin. So if you know a little bit of Latin, basically universally medical across the board. And I'm not a medical person. Like I don't ever want to be, but you can internalize that stuff if you give yourself the test kind of flashcards or quiz or whatever it is, and then also shorten the time frame. And if you can make the time frame even shorter, like if you start an hour or you give yourself an hour and that's more than enough time, then that means you need to shorten the time frame. Cut it down to 50 minutes, cut it down to 45 minutes. Give yourself enough pressure that you have to go through it quickly in order to get through all the questions. And if you're getting through all of them with that time frame, then shorten the time frame. So I think time is also a factor in there, not just the information itself, especially rote information, but the time factor is important when you're trying to internalize it. We had a guy when I was going through my warrant officer course, and this guy was the oldest warrant officer candidate in the history of the Army. I think he was like 53, 54, something like that. He was like right at the cusp of the cutoff, right? So luckily he was in our class. And he was a really good dude, and he did a lot of I mean, he kept up with us physically. He was, you know, he was, like I said, he's 53. Like he was pretty old to be in a warrant officer candidate class with a bunch of, you know, young buck E6, E7s coming in there, like all gung ho. And it's not an easy school to go through either way. And he was going to be a band instructor. So he would be basically the warrant for one of the Army bands somewhere, right?
Yeah.
Teaching people about music, teaching about instrumentation and this and that. Him and another guy, they were both the band leaders. And we had to do a thing where we had to ask for eating rights. I believe it was either eating rights or coffee rights, one of the two. We had to come up with a motto, and we had to come up with a song that we had to sing. And we also did a kind of a choreographed marching formation thing with it that went along with it. So it was a thing, right? To ask for eating rights where we can actually talk at the DFAC, at the dining facility when we were eating, instead of being silent.
This is at Walks?
That was at Warren School, yeah.
Okay.
We were treated worse than privates. It was crazy. Yeah. It was
I've heard.
People just don't even understand. So anyways, this guy was a music instructor. The other guy was a music instructor. He was a little bit younger, but we were trying to put this together and get this song. We had to do it within, I don't know, a day. Like we literally had like 24 hours to get it done from start to finish, like from writing the lyrics, putting together the melody, learning the song, memorizing the song, and then performing the song the next day in our kind of like our little chant that we had to do. But it was singing, right? Singing involved in it. So he was like, look, we got the song, we got it put together, we know the words, we got the melody that we're going to use. Everybody knows it. It's a pretty universal melody, so it's not hard to figure out. It's like, we just got to be able to memorize the words that go along with the melody, right? And we spent maybe 2 hours. And at first, everybody was screwing it up. We were trying to learn it line by line, and then we were like, no, we can just sing it all the way through. And at some point, he stepped in, he said, look, I know I'm not the fastest person on the field. I know I'm not the smartest person in the class. I know I'm older than everybody else. He's like, this is what we need to do. He's like, we're going to do this. We're going to do it really, really slow all the way through. And then we're going to start to speed it up and speed it up and speed it up. So we brought the tempo up and up and up, even though it was above the tempo that we were going to perform at. And that closing in that gap of having to memorize the stuff and learn it quickly and more quickly and speeding up the tempo gradually over time, that allowed us to go from 0 to memorize within, I don't know, 2 hours, I think it was. And then we pulled it off the next day. It was flawless. So that was it was an insightful moment for me about the time factor of learning, because I like learning anyway, meta learning and learning in general. And to be able to shrink down that time factor or speed up the process of learning and breaking it down into chunks and doing that kind of thing, that really, really, really helped. And it was one of those times where it was just like, oh, this is completely obvious why this works. But before, when he said it, we were like, this is dumb. Like, we're not going to do this. This is stupid. And you know, when you got a bunch of E6, E7, sometimes E8s who are at the top of their field, in their specific field, and everybody's an expert and everybody's an alpha. Somebody says something like that, you're like, nah, it's bullshit. But it worked. We used it. It worked. And we pulled it off, and we got our eating rights.
So, John, I think the people have spoken in the chat. They want to hear the song.
Well, no, I don't remember the song.
A lot of people have spoken, man. You got to give the people what they want, dude.
It was if I'm not mistaken, it was the "We Are Family" was the melody, but the words totally escaped me. Totally escaped me.
Man. Okay, well, that's where we are. Hold on, let me see.
I wish I could remember that. I have a bad memory.
Yeah. So it's repetition, right? Same as you imagine. I mean, you remember when you used to go back to, you know, you were at the rifle range or something like that, or you're doing the part, we call it table 2 or table 3 maybe, where it was moving targets, right? You're basically at a firing range, moving targets when you're at the rifle range, and you have your rifle there, and let's say you have a stoppage, right? A double feed, right? You have to, you know, tap, can't, rack, bang, right? Is the ditty, is the saying. But actually doing that and just doing it smoothly is the tough part, right? When you first learn it, it's like, okay, you gotta tap the magazine, rack, cant, and then bang, right? And it get the freaking I forgot what the hell they call it. Oh my god, I forgot my rifle nomenclature. Anyway, the forward assist, you got to tap that at the end. But without doing that a couple of times, it's going to look sloppy. It's going to look, you're not going to be able to get it. So it's kind of repetition, right? As anything is. That's how you learn. I mean, that's how I learn. So to answer Tony Slaughter's question, just repetition, man. Repetition.
Yeah.
There was another. Let me see what we got here. Patrick PNW, man. Hey, good. Great show. Really got me thinking about the perspective on the transition for me esposa. Comnav wife pack. Comnav wife pack. Thanks and God bless. Yeah, absolutely, man. It's there's a lot that goes into it, man. There's a lot that goes into it. And it's a family unit. It is, and you got to think about it all around. And it's a big reason why when I retired, I told my wife, hey, I told her she can choose where we want to live. She's kind of followed me around my career for 20 years. You can choose where we live. And, she chose where we were. So we retired here. And now I'm supporting her career that she's been kind of moving around all these years. I'm supporting her now. She is doing her thing. I work from home mostly. Unless I'm doing something outside with some kind of event or nonprofit, then I'm here with the kids hanging out, and I freaking love it. I love it, man, because I feel like I've missed out on so much of their young life, because I was at work or TDY or things like that. Tony Slaughter, yeah. No perspective. All right. Member for a month. Congratulations. I feel like you've been a member for longer than a month. No? We were waiting, John. You didn't forget the song. No, he didn't forget the song. Freaking John over here.
No,
Fuck no, man. You think I believe you did? No.
Out of all the things that I could remember from walks, that was not one of them. After you get the eating rights, you don't give a shit anymore. You can talk and eat now. It's amazing. Done.
Yeah.
Check. I mean, I could play some guitar for you, but I don't think you want to hear that.
Yeah, I like when Navy Cop put on here. I have to hit it in small, manageable chunks, take breaks, and come back to it. Yeah, that's a big thing that I do, and I'm glad you brought that up, Navy Cop. A huge thing that I do, because I cannot sit here for long periods of time and study and do work and stuff. And usually when I'm doing my school work, I'll like just be randomly walking around the house, and my wife will look at me. She's like, don't you have work? Aren't you doing your homework? And I'm like, look, I can only give it like 10 minutes at a time. Then I got to take 10 minutes off because I cannot sit there. For one, my back freaking hurts just sitting here the whole time. That's why you see me constantly adjusting this thing. But I can only stare at a screen for so long before I start like zoning out. Getting was it cross-eyed or freaking drowsy or whatever. So yeah, there's a lot of things you can do, but you just got to figure out what works for you. Or you can do what the old school Marines used to do, like when I first joined. If you're dozing off, like in the base theater, and this was a big thing, you can stand up. But for everybody used to do this. You take this hand and you slap yourself in the back of the head, and that'll wake you up a little bit. Not recommended, but it does the job temporarily, I suppose. You're also probably giving yourself future brain damage, maybe
brain damage, brain trauma.
Yeah, you're hitting your cortex or your cortex back here, right? But yeah, that's what we used to do. I guess you could stand up in the Army. I guess they stand up. In the Marine Corps, they just hit their heads.
Yeah, we don't hit our heads.
No, hell no. Yeah,
no,
stuff,
no.
man,
I'm not singing "Ignition" by R. Kelly. Please, please, and thank you.
No, hell no. Can't do the R. Kelly anymore, man.
Oh man, R.
Can't
Kelly.
do the R. Kelly. Yeah. Sometimes, yeah. There you go. I like that. One more perspective put on here. My 10th grade AP English teacher, Miss Allen, said, if you read something 10 times, you will memorize it. Yeah. I mean, it's implanted kind of in your brain a little bit, right?
Yeah. Sounds good in theory.
So that means that John probably sang his song or read that song 9 times. So it wasn't quite 10, so he couldn't memorize it.
I sang it just enough to memorize it, just enough for that specific instance. No, I've actually, funny enough, I've been listening to the music a little bit more lately. Listening to some Spotify playlists and some music that I haven't heard in a long time. And I used to be able to memorize all the song lyrics for all the songs. And now when I go back and listen to some of those same songs, I find myself, even because I've been recently picking up the guitar recently as well, playing it a little bit on and off when I get time. And I can't, for some reason, remember all the lyrics to the songs that I used to have memorized. So I think some of that cognitive function is going away slowly. I don't know how to thoroughly explain that, because there's most of the songs that I learned and memorized, even from early childhood up till now. I could recite the lyrics to the song front and back and in any context. But now I find that harder and harder to do. I've really lost some of that somewhere, and I don't know where. It's the same place where I get this arthritis and muscle pains and cricks in my neck and all that stuff. So I think with old age comes memory degradation. Yeah.
But come on, man, you're not that old. It's just, I think it's just a matter of listening into it again. And I don't know, you're in your 40s. I know that part, but look, dude, I'm also in my 40s. I'm in my early 40s, but man, I still feel good. I think it's a mix of, consistent exercise and consistently reading, engaging the mind, right? Like they always say, if you don't use it, you lose it. If you're not out there doing lunges and squats at some point in time, when you're older, your legs are not going to be as stable as they are now. You have to work on these muscles, especially after your 40s, because then it's a little bit harder to build muscle at that point. Same thing as your mind. If you're constantly just intaking information and not critically thinking and using your brain, not saying you, John, but just in general, that no, not you, then you start losing it, right?
Yeah.
You start losing it. The critical thinking is big, especially with the younger generation. I'll pose questions to my kids, and I'll sit there and I'll watch them, and their brains are, I can see the cogs, moving, and I'm waiting for the answer. And I do that often as a form of kind of getting them ready for adulthood. You're going to be posed with some hard questions, man. You have to be able to think about this. But in old age, man, in older age, that's important to establish, to keep that critical thinking going, I think.
Yeah. That's a good question. That's a tricky one. Favorite guitarist. I can give you my Mount Rushmore of guitarists. So this is really off topic, right? This is really off the rails today.
Yeah.
Favorite guitarist. So just off the top of my head, I would say Clapton is one. Hendrix is one. So that's two from the older generation. You ever heard of a group called Pantera? It's like a really, really heavy metal group. Used to be around in the 90s. The guitarist for Pantera, I think his name was Dimebag Darrell. Excellent guitarist. And who else? And the guitarist from System of a Down. His name is kind of difficult to speak, but the guitarist / singer from System of a Down. Top 4.
The singer? Serge Tankian? No, not Serge,
yeah.
right?
No. It's System.
The little dude, huh? I forgot his name too.
Excellent. Serge, yeah. No,
Serge
Darren.
Tankian.
Sorry, Darren.
Okay.
Darren.
Yeah,
The other guy.
one of my favorite bands right there, System of a Down.
Yeah, he's an excellent guitar
great
player.
Yeah, great for the gym too. Great for the gym.
I was gonna say Joe Satriani. He would be my number 5, Joe Satriani. Now that maybe Cup has mentioned it, he was the first one that came to mind. But yeah, definitely, I would put him on that list.
Excellent. Well, good, man. I really enjoyed today's episode. It was very insightful. A lot of talk about the veteran spouse perspective, the perspective that we don't see too often, and the support that they give the military service member along, during their times of deployments, TY. So shout out to all the military spouses out there. If you are yourself a military spouse, I would definitely reach out to our guest that we had today, Allison Burton. Her website is allisonburton.co. Excellent resource for all this stuff. It sounds like she's very involved in it and that she has a passion for it. So truly appreciate her coming on. While we're here, I wanted to give a shout out to a sponsor I've got, is American Fidelity Life Insurance. If you're looking for life insurance, definitely check them out. Have a awesome veteran lineage, and all about helping vets as well. Currently working on more sponsorships, but we'll see. We will see what comes about. Yeah, a lot going on, but we got to keep this going, right? So,
yep.
Great having everybody here. John, what you got?
That's it, man. I just want to pull up these two since we were talking about guitarists earlier. Jason Becker, Clapton, Stevie Ray Vaughan, Joe Satriani, definitely. And Red Hot Chili Peppers is like one of my top 5 bands of all time. That's my go-to, Red Hot Chili Peppers. So anything from Red Hot Chili Peppers is my jamalations. Now, working on some things in the background. Have something that we're going to put out there. We'll have something for the audience to be able to participate in, that we can get you a physical thing to your house. And I think you're going to enjoy it. We'll talk about it more on the next show next Sunday for sure. Have some way to get that set up and get some way of an equal playing field to judge who is going to get this free takeaway. But also bring some light to an interesting organization that I've been around for many years. I feel like it's a very interesting organization, and I never made the connection before between them and the military communities and the first responder communities. If you haven't heard, I'll just throw their name out there real quick. It's called Sparrows, SPARROWS. Hold on a minute. SPARROWS. Let me get this right. Let me stop lying. SPARROWS. Yeah, Sparrows. So they basically specialize in lock picking essentials. They have company in the US. They also have a distribution point or company in the UK, I believe. And it's basically stems from the EOD community. So the EOD community is basically the folks that go out there and defuse bombs and take care of stuff like that. That's where a lot of this comes from. I guess part of their training is to be able to breach doors and locks and things like that, because they have to be able to keep people safe in some cases. So it's an interesting hobby, to say the least. And it's definitely a community of not only just military people, but also first responders. And if you just want to get into something that really can allow you to focus on something and get really deep into some mechanical hands-on kind of stuff. There's a very small learning curve to get into it. I first started messing with it when I was doing cybersecurity stuff. So I was thinking about doing cybersecurity, breaking down code, breaking apart network traffic and stuff like that. And then I started to read about lock picking alongside of it, because they share similar paths of methods of doing things, right? And so I was like, okay, cool. Let me pick up lock picking. So I started to pick up lock picking and understanding how that related back to cybersecurity, and actually put together like a little presentation about it. But it's a fun thing to do, and the first time you actually do it and pick a lock open, and you're like, whoa, your brain just, like, all the endorphins go off, and you get this rush of it's pretty neat experience. And it's also good. It's one of those things that could potentially save your life in certain situations. But they have a thing coming up. It'll be in September. They're doing like this big thing. We'll talk about it. I'll put together a little presentation for it. And it's a 2 or 3 day thing. You can go there, and they have different tracks and classes on how to do lock picking, how to escape and evade, how to get out of handcuffs and escape, all the survival kind of tactics that you might ever want to use or not use. But it's kind of cool because it kind of directly relates back to military, and then give you a sense of going back to that military kind of mindset in a certain way. So definitely looking forward to working with them in the future, hopefully, and for sure going to have something set up to get to all you folks, all the listeners of the Green Logbook, the Military Retirement Podcast. We'll get something put together. So yes, Sparrow Lockpicks is Sparrow, SPARROWS lockpicks.com, all spelled out, one word.
Okay.
So
and
if you have,
you're currently working on it. We're not currently sponsored by them, but you're currently working on that, right?
Yeah, we're not sponsored by them, but they do have a thing coming up, and I literally just put the 2 and 2 together the other day and reached out to them, and they said, yeah, sure, we can set up a thing for your audience, like a giveaway or something like that. So we're getting that put together, and I just got to get the logistics and the back end of that put together. So if you're interested in lockpicking, you're interested in learning a new craft or trade, and it's a pretty cool trade, and it's also a cool party trick if you're ever at a bar and you want to impress some people. It's an interesting trade to learn, and it's pretty easy to learn. But we'll have that set up, and we'll have a little thing where you can put your information in, and I think we're just going to do something where you explain something to us in like 25 or 50 words, and then we'll sit through and read through all those at the end. So we'll give it a little bit more time than normal, maybe a few weeks or a month or so. We've got plenty of time. And then whoever we pick, we'll contact Sparrows and have them ship out the magic surprise box to your doorstep.
All right.
Sound good?
Sounds good. Before we go, I know we're nearing 2.5 hours, which is kind of amazing and flew by. I want to bring up this one little thing that I got from the VA here, and really anybody can do it. So as we know, as I've shared here many times, I'm currently going through the VRNE. John, I believe you're still under the VRNE as well, the Veterans Readiness and Employment. So under this, you can get a technology package, right? So different packages, right? A technology package, which means they sent out a laptop bag, printer and all that stuff. At the same time, I was reading, hey, look, you can also get things like a stand-up desk, ergonomic chair, footrest, lumbar support, all that stuff, in order for you to be successful in your studies, right? Your program. So I was told when I requested this first, I requested a desk, a chair, and all this stuff. I was told by the VRC, the Veterans Readiness Counselor, hey, I cannot give you that stuff directly. You can't request it from me directly. You got to go through the medical, through your PCM, and get a letter. So it was very vague, right? So I asked my doctor, I was like, hey, can I get a letter from you? Oh, we can't do that. Like she doesn't write one directly to me, right? The doc. So I'm like, so where the hell does this magical letter come from? So I did some research. I had to go to a request of information department at the VA. I filled out a request of information to them saying, hey, look, I want a letter from the medical doctor that I can send the VRC, the Veteran Readiness Counselor. And essentially this letter right here mentions that that my doctor recommends the following accommodations for the patient's work environment, given all the stuff in my medical record, right? So got the thumbs up for a stand-up desk, ergonomic chair, lumbar support, anti-fatigue standing mat, and a computer monitor. So now the next step is sending that over to the Veterans Readiness Counselor and seeing exactly how that gets purchased. So there are ways to get this stuff done. There are ways to get stuff to get it done. I just didn't know it was through the request of information department. So
That's crazy.
there we are. Anybody that
How
needs
many-
information.
How many months have you spent doing that? Working on that?
Oh, this was this only took 2 weeks. Now
Oh, okay.
getting to the point where I actually understood that, oh, I just got to submit it through the ROI, because nobody was actually throwing the name ROI out there, the request of information department. Everybody was saying, hey, yeah, I don't know. You got to request it to your doctor. My doctor was telling me you got to request it through the VRE people. And I'm like, you guys are pointing fingers at each other like those Spider-Men, but I don't know how to connect these dots, right? The connection to the dot is the ROI department. Just so you all know.
Yeah, that's crazy. Because I know you mentioned that a long time ago about the technology package and all that ergonomic stuff. But I didn't know that you needed extra paper. That makes sense, though. I think you got to do the same if you're a civilian or whatever, if you work for the government and you want to request one of those
You do.
raising
You do.
desks and all that stuff. You got to go through your doc and
Yeah.
get that approved, and then they can fund it. Yeah.
Yeah. And then I also got an email from the VRE people saying that they want my transcript.
Ah.
They want like copy of the transcript, like unofficial transcript, right? They want to confirm my grades.
Yeah.
And I was reading through the I think it's the MR28 or the 820 M28R, whatever the VRE references. Even if you like fail a class, I don't think that they can kick you out of that. I think that you just retake the class. But that was the first time they ever asked me for my transcript, which I'm fine with. I've got the 4.0. I'm currently good to go. So I'm like, I'll send you this stuff. But I wasn't aware that they were asking for this stuff. I didn't know if it was an official one or what. But after some looking into it, they're like, oh, just an unofficial transcript is fine. So just understand they're going to ask you for your grades.
Excellent. Well, I don't want to hold everybody all day. Thank you, everybody in the chat and the comments. Thank you, Allison, for coming on the show. Thank you for the great conversation about military spouse perspective. I hope it was helpful to everybody. I hope it opened up some ideas and some thoughts about what's going on from the spouse's side of the house. And we take a little bit more appreciation into that because they're definitely the backbone of our success in the military and also out of the military. It takes a good spouse on the outside as well. Once you become a veteran and a retiree and get out of uniform, it takes the same kind of support. In a lot of cases, more support because you're on your own and you don't have the group setting all times to be your unofficial support group. So yeah, thanks everybody. We appreciate everybody, and we will see you again on Sunday at the latest.
Yep. Real quick, on the Green Law Book side, I will be on the live stream on Wednesday doing another trivia night. So stand by for that, 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And I will see you all then. And then Military Retirement Podcast on Sunday. Thanks all for being here with us. Have an awesome Sunday.
Out here.
Out here.